My husband wants to go on vacation with my brother-in-law and do unspeakable things.
I mean, I'd tell you about it, but...
Hi there. I really wish I didn't have to make this post. Here it goes. So me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living racking up in the UK right now. The beans and eggs are getting up. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Canning 1900. And if you want to spin your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So we have 2 boys, 15 and 10 Mel. And up until this Saturday, I thought we had it pretty good. We argue sometimes, of course, but it's never gotten too bad, and we have pretty decent, spicy sleep life with some explanation. But I won't get into that. Long and short is, on Sunday, just after I dropped off our boys at their friends, my husband asked me if we could have the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said yes, and he sat me down, then got out this printed poster for some sort of... How did that not get blocked? What? We have gone this far and this word has not gone blocked? I'm going to say spicy party. Then got out this printed poster for some sort of spicy party and started explaining to me the concept of attracted to the same gendercation. It's where straight men go to somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become for the duration of the trip. But that's fine because it doesn't actually count, because what happens on the vacation stays at the vacation. If you sign up for this, you're no longer a straight man.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Be who you are. It's the second day of Pride.
I was completely silent and mortified. Even more so when he said he was looking into a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. He's 35 now. When he finally let me speak, I just said I need him to be clear with me. Is he attracted to the same gender? Because if yes, that's okay, but we need to figure out what happens going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset. I was just stunned. He swore up and down he is not attracted to the same gender, and he's 100% attracted to women. And of course, he still loves me and our boys. So I said, well, do you think you're bi, maybe? He got very defensive, saying how I needed to drop the accusations and that this is the beauty of the...
This has to be written to be funny, right? Because that's hilarious.
It allows straight men to experience the without actually being attracted to the same gender, and how it's like going to an aquarium. And again, he was adamant he doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this apparently.
Because he's excited.
I said, well, I'm not really comfortable because if he was bi, this would be explicitly cheating on me. And he got angry and reiterated he's not, because that's the beauty of the gaycation, etc. I just had enough and left the room. I ignored him for the rest of the day, but we spoke again at tea, where I again asked him why he wants to do this so bad if he's not attracted to the same gender. He said how he's interested in how, men's life differ from straight men's.
He's like, no, I'm just going undercover.
Trying to unravel the secrets.
And that unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must surrender himself, mind, body, and soul, or be destroyed. Be destroyed? Become ashes. I'm either going to submit or become ashes.
Are there trips marketed as this? Because if there are, we all need to go on one. Just to see it. I want to see what happens if you get destroyed. Do they just have a beam that just de-atomizes you?
I think we have another straight man who wants to go on the vacation, everyone.
I do, but I don't want to touch any men.
That's what he's saying. I can't really put into words how surreal it is, because he was speaking on the matter factly, and he again insists this is a thing that straight men do all the time, and now he's actually doing it a bit late. Yeah, they usually get started in their 30s. I'm 40. I'm running out of time. I just said to him, if he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this. And if he does, the marriage will be decimated. We didn't speak anymore after that. Since then, he's mentioned no more of it. But somehow, this is what scares me a lot too. That decision genuinely seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go into work on Monday and only went in for half a day yesterday because he told them he just felt too ill and he looks distraught every time I see him. Dude, what?
Distraught because every time he sees you, he's like, she's not a man. And it's like, that's his own thing to deal with.
He's trying to make it seem like it's not about him getting around. And two, I've never seen anyone that missed a vacation miss 2 days of work because of how distraught they were. If this was just a vacation.
Well, yeah, it's not a vacation. It's a vacation. That's the beauty of it.
Like, he was about to see, like, a bunch of, like, dudes skinny dipping, and now he's, like, missing out on it.
He'll never know what he was going to see now because he's back to being, lock me up, officer. I'm the straight man.
I really don't think he's wholly, though I can be absolutely believe he's bi. But I'd rather we talk about that in a healthy way rather than this incredibly weird denialism around going on a spicy holiday to Ibiza. Has anyone known straight guys to do this and come back and just go back into being straight? Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. I'm so out of depth here, and I just don't know how to even initiate the conversation. For the record, I also haven't mentioned it to his sister yet. I don't know how I'd even break it to her. Thanks for any help. I just don't know what to think. So being able to get this out there has helped even a little bit. We got an edit and we got a PS. So, dude, I don't even know what to say. This guy's trying to cheat on you.
On a real level, like if you want to get through this with your husband, it needs to not be about the vacation anymore. It needs to be about, hey, I'm telling you that I wouldn't find it okay for you to just go have a little escapade with men and then just come back and act like everything's cool. I understand the beauty of the vacation, but I don't want that for me since I'm your wife. So it needs to be like a, hey, like, I want you to feel like you're okay, right? Because clearly he's not all the way straight.
Yeah, he's just repressing like all of his emotions.
And if he heard this right now, he'd just be screaming, it's the beauty of the vacation. What are you not understanding? Just want to spend a vacation with men.
I think you have to say you can be my husband if you're bi, but you can't be my husband if you cheat on me.
If you go do this and come back.
Edit. Wow, this blew up. This has been incredibly sobering, and I think I've now confirmed what I already knew to be the case. The marriage has passed away. One way or another. In a way, I was in denial myself about that. I've contacted my sister-in-law, and she's initially screamed at me, calling me a liar, and even insinuated I was trying to steal her husband. She rang me back short after, apologized, and admitted she was in deep, deep shock. I've asked my parents to look after the boys, and we are going to meet tomorrow to discuss this deeper. It just realized to me that imagine this is happening in your marriage. You contact your sibling, and this is happening in their marriage too.
It's like, we're the only ones we got right now, dude.
Convenient or sad?
I think it's definitely convenient. I think you definitely want a close relative to lean on in that moment without being like, this is going to change how they think about me forever. But it's like, no, your husband's doing it too? Oh my God.
I've also texted my husband and told him we need to make alternative accommodation arrangements. But he will not be sleeping here tonight, and I will have a bag, and he will be waiting for him. Not sure if the mods want to lock the post, blah, blah, blah. Thank you all for those words, especially Champion Flight, who already gave me the good dose of reality I needed. P.S. I see a lot of people asking about the aquarium and at risk of doxing myself. There's a pretty famous aquarium here in the UK called The Deep. At the very end, you walk through a tunnel that generally goes underneath the main fish tank, and it's quite immersive, I suppose. My husband explained the aquarium thing, and it's a bit like that. You go there, and you observe the fishes, and you even get a bit close up, but you never actually enter the waters, get emotionally invested, or become a fish. So it doesn't really count. I don't think there's going to be glass, protecting you from all the dudes out there.
I think I'm starting to understand what they're trying to say. I'm not sold on it. What this guy's saying is he's like, I'm just going to go be and then not care that I was and not ever be again. That's what he's saying.
He can't come back to a marriage after that.
Of course not. So it's just insanity.
This is a very bizarre analogy, and I pointed out that it makes no sense, but he just got more in a huff about it, about how I just don't get it. And frankly, I still don't. And I want to get to the update. Your husband isn't proposing again. He's proposing cheating on you with men while you're using magical thinking to pretend it doesn't count. The fact that he's planning this with his sister's husband even makes it more disturbing. His bizarre explanation about surrendering mind, body, and soul isn't straight man curiosity. It's someone desperately trying to justify exploring his spicy relatedality while keeping his hetero spicy marriage together. His depression about not being able to go isn't about missing a vacation. It's about being forced to confront his without his convenient. What happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza. Excuse. His meltdown, however, is not going to show how desperately he wants to avoid facing his reality. Opie says, I've read over this multiple times, and I guess the worst part is how I know you're completely right. OP should consider about the divorce. OP says, I want to avoid the divorce option, but I guess it's the only option, isn't it? Commenter 2 says, so this is just a thought, but I'm wondering if he's really planning on doing the gaycation or if it was just a cover to try to get you to agree to it. What if the real plan was to get with women while he's down there?
That would be a crazy plan. He's stupid if that was his plan.
Or is he so genius that we just can't comprehend the true brilliance we're seeing right now? He's like, babe, I just want to go be with men. She'll never expect they're actually women.
OP says that I hadn't really thought of, to be honest, and now the thought terrifies me. From the way he's talking about men, the fact that he had a poster for a spicy party, I mean, it's one heck of a buff, surely. Commenter 3, tell him you're gonna have a straightcation while he's gone, and if you're going to surrender mind, body, and soul to other men. Honest to God, if my husband proposes to me, I'd use his time away to pack up, move out, and have divorce papers waiting for him. And we got an update.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's interesting that this could be a completely different conversation if their partner was like actually approaching it from an honest perspective, which is like a really hard, vulnerable thing to do, to like go to your partner and be like, hey, so I think I'm like maybe into men, but I also am your husband and we have kids and I love you and I just don't know what's going on. Then that's a completely different thing. Being like, I'm going to go on a vacation and you have to be okay with it. Worst possible way you could go about that.
Him saying he's late to it is him saying, I've been in the closet for a while now.
I should have been going to this for years.
Anyways, update. So when I last posted, I contacted my husband to tell him he wouldn't be staying at home tonight and a bag will be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued quite badly. I won't go into the specific details, but now I'm 100% on board with the fact, at minimum, he's bi. Might even be together. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him have such a childish tantrum before, screaming about how I just don't understand the gaycation. Absolutely, despite that phrase now, and insinuating I'm actually a closet officer because I refuse to allow him to participate in his cultural exchange with the community.
Cultural exchange, more like a fluid exchange, dude. What are you talking about?
A lot of you said to ask me if I'd be accepted if the roles were in reverse. And I did say it would be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week. Like clockwork. He was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because gaycation means nothing. What happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, etc. And so it doesn't actually really count. When you go to Vegas and lose all your money, that doesn't stay in Vegas. That debt follows you out of Vegas.
Oh, the money that you lost stays in Vegas. The debt doesn't. The debt follows you around.
Whereas I just be straight up cheating. Well, I turned it around on him. No, but if you see what happens in Manchester, stays in Manchester, doesn't actually mean anything. Doesn't it count? It's like bird watching. And I think it got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting he thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart. But relationships need sacrifices. So he had agreed, volunteers, that when he goes on the vacation, I'll get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever I want. He doesn't want me to, but that's what's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. I know it's incredibly petty, but I also drained the joint bank account and legal in the UK, so he couldn't try to use it against me. In about an hour, I got a call from his mom, my mother-in-law, who also screamed and screamed about me being a cheating or how I was horrible, what about the kids, etc. When I finally got my composure back, I just said, ask your son about the gaycation. Obvious at first she got angry, but I said, no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain. She called me a effing joke and hung up. And guess what? Later on, getting into the evening, I got another phone call from her. in floods of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was also upset she put father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I just sort of could tell he was on a warpath. Again, very apologetic, and he overheard that phrase, asked my husband, and husband initially said, "No, it's nothing," before explaining how it's a modern thing men do, etc., and gave them the same spiel about what happens on the gaycation. Men cannot resist how a man must surrender to the gaycation, etc. Father-in-law just said they told him to leave or they'd call the police. He didn't care where he goes, but he wasn't staying there. Husband tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it. And father-in-law just said he was sorry for me and that they have my corner in this. So that's one thing. Oh, wait. Now we're getting to the brother-in-law here.
Oh, no. God, I forgot.
I just want to know how he came across this and where this all began.
I mean, I'm sure this all began a long time ago.
Like at a water cooler at work. Like they were at office and Bill came by and was like, "Hey, you ever heard of it?"
I talked to Sharon about it. She let me go. I'll tell you, it was a crazy experience. I'm the straightest man on earth, though. It's still kind of tragic because this is clearly like a bi man who's not like, he doesn't feel like he can do that.
And a marriage is dissolving before our eyes.
And this is why it's important if you feel like you have like a truth to not like ignore it or bury it or lie about it, because if you do, you'll end up in a point where you're 42 and now you're telling your wife you have to gaycation.
Told them to be there for their daughter because it sounds like brother-in-law is involved. Husband didn't tell them that. And father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. Got a text from my husband after the phone call, which was all weirdly rambly, saying how I'd mistraded the to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. And again, insinuated I and his parents were closet officers for doing such a thing.
He's like, I'm not, but you guys are being, not to me, because I'm not.
I just want to go on vacation.
Told him we'd talk when he grows up and blocked his number. I took a day off work to have to myself. The locks had been changed this morning, and that's 500 pounds gone. Who did you call? How many locks do you have in your house? But whatever, at least I know he won't be coming back. I'm going to look into how I can proceed with a divorce, and then we'll move from there. Oh, of course, there is the brother-in-law. So I haven't yet met with sister-in-law. She was in such a state and has taken this far worse than I have for reasons that will be clear soon. We're going to try maybe tomorrow, but we did talk over the phone, and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband, where she put her on the phone on speaker and I went on mute. Her husband got home early. She made him come home and told him there was an emergency. I just said to him, "Can you please explain what a gaycation is?" She told me afterwards she was praying he'd look confused or just be like, "What?" or anything. But instead, he just sat her down and explained that a gay is a new thing where straight men go spots and participate in spicy sleep acts, but it doesn't count because there's no investment and because what happens on the stays on the vacation. This is like whatever, going like door to door and being like the same spiel, like a salesman. Can I talk to you today about your Lord and Savior on the vacation? The new thing straight men go on.
You're not the first guy to come around this place. I'm in. That's the sales principle. You wear them down. It feels like these two guys just want to go be each other. And they're trying to come up with some other thing where it's like, all right, well, maybe if we're strangers, then our families will be okay with it, which is the most insane thing ever. But you know what? Maybe they're just in love, because when you're in love, you think and do really dumb stuff sometimes.
Conspiracy theory, this whole story is just an ad for vacation. He said, like writing down angry thoughts and then putting them in a drawer. You never have to see them again. The whole time sister-in-law is in tears, as he just calmly bats off same points my husband did about how it doesn't count. And he did the whole, it's impossible to resist, you must surrender or be destroyed crap. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. There are even male doms, because surely neither of them are into that to make that up on their own. I don't really want to go into what was discussed for her sake, but it did become very apparent to me that brother-in-law is into hypocorn and at times conflated with the concept of a. There was this utterly surreal moment where sister-in-law was just trying to wrap her head around this while also in floods of tears, and he explains so genuinely, so matter-of-factly, For that, most men is either a one-time annual thing, but some men go to the gaycation for years and simply never return because they use the hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized in a state of permanent pseudo.
That might take the cake for the most insane thing I've ever heard.
This guy was like watching way more YouTube videos than OP husband was.
How is he still calling it pseudo if you get lost there?
He's like, yeah, some people never leave because they're brainwashed. They're internalizing this.
Be instead of do all this and deny that it makes you. I think that's even.
Anyways, she said disbelief. Surely, if you're taking it up the butt willingly because you want to, that makes you attracted to the same gender. And he said no, because that's the beauty of the. You can do all this stuff, but you don't interact with the wider experience.
So I just want to let you know that I can be intimate with another woman, and then if I can't be like, I'm still just totally 100% only because I wasn't committed to that woman. You can do that when you're straight too.
She asked him if the sissy stuff is what he wanted, and he said, not on a long-term basis, and was adamant this is something all straight men do, but she wouldn't get it because she's a woman. Dude, now we're throwing in some
jabs. You wouldn't get it, woman. What is it, the all men? What is that? Where did they read this? They like sent each other like a meme on Instagram, and then it turned into this.
I cannot wait for some memes now. Then there were more insinuations of, well, that marriage is passed away too, I suppose. The whole ordeal ended when she said to him he has a choice to make. And he said no, he doesn't need to make this choice because the beauty of the gaycation that allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count.
He's like, no, you don't understand. You're not allowed to divorce me because it doesn't count.
It's in the terms and agreements.
I have legal documentation.
After they gave me a little form. It's like getting your parking validated.
Exactly. She said that's not the choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night or she is. Only good thing he did was leave. Me and sister-in-law spoke about it after, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand she's gone to her parents for support. What exactly did we do to have our lives destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, embarrassing way? Per some advice, I'm going to look at devices and bake statements to see if I can find definitive proof of cheating. After that, I suppose I have to figure out a way to tell the boys why their father won't be going home, because he's going to Vegas for years now.
It's the beauty of the gaycation.
Yeah, it's the beauty of OK Story Time. We got an edit. We got a little bit left here.
You got to give yourself up to it entirely or it will destroy you.
But yeah, any other thoughts?
Fellas, is it straight to be? Is this what that man's arguing? But be honest with your partners. Because like, I really do think there was a way he could have expressed, like, I feel uncertain about my sexuality all of a sudden. Like, not even all of a sudden. Like, I don't know how I could have told this to you. It's like an impossible thing to say. If he comes from it from like a real vulnerable place, like that's still an incredibly difficult conversation, but it's like you're at least coming from a real place. This is nonsense.
Edit. Spoke to other sister-in-law. My husband's family is older sister, him younger sister, original sister-in-law. Gave her a skimmed-down version. She asked her husband, and thankfully he was deeply confused, but mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband and brother-in-law about signing up to some online boot camp around 50 Shades Club cross-dressing. He assumed they were taking the piss out of him and told him to F off and never really thought of it again. The fact that this has been going on for that long is making me want to throw up. As for the poster who said about divorce options, I'm actually going to look into adultery because, plain and simple, that is what it is. And that is the end of that story. Holy cow! They've been trying for years.
Human psychology is incredibly complex. So there's no way to get to the bottom of this without real conversation. But you can't have real conversation with him right now anyway because he's in Delulu land. He truly believes that that's the beauty of the gaycation is that you just get to do a like free trial on being gay.
Yeah.
What if you go there and you become attached?
Yeah, what if you want to like continue your trial?
Yeah.
But that's the end of that story.
I refuse to replace my daughter's car. I'm not the one who destroyed it.
Not my problem.
My daughter Casey, 17 female, worked and saved up money for around a year to be able to afford a better car than we could buy her with our family budget. My other daughter, Alana, 16 female, has ADHD and recently got her driver's license and asked to drive Casey's car. Put I see you in the chat if you know what's going to happen. By the way, this comes from last time in top version 2940. I think we got a double feature Reddit story coming up, folks. So let's go.
Would
We
love to
love
see it.
seeing those, both perspectives. Anyway, if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So Casey allowed it, but Alana ended up having a bad accident around 6 months ago, which basically rendered the car unusable. The insurance payout wasn't nearly enough to cover the replacement, and with Alana's medical bills from the accident, thankfully there was no permanent damage, just a broken arm and leg, there was no way we could afford to replace Casey's car immediately. Alana was very apologetic to Casey, and so were we since we couldn't afford to replace her car, but Casey didn't accept our apology and has been basically avoiding us, skipping family dinners, and pretty much pretending that her mom and Alana and I don't exist and only talks to us if she needs a form signed for her school.
I mean,
She's pissed, of course.
fair.
Fair.
The car that she spent money on without her parents' help was destroyed by her sister. And you know, if we're talking about insurance wise, if the sister destroys a car that it's not her car, then you should be paying for it.
Yeah. I begged her to come to a family therapy session, and she eventually relented, but with the condition that Alana wouldn't be present. In the therapy session, she told us that she won't be resuming a relationship with us until we replace her car, which realistically won't be until next year. When the therapist asked how she expected us to do that, Casey said we would just make Alana work
Yes.
to earn the money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's their idea. The issue is that Alana has severe ADHD and already has trouble managing her schoolwork. I'm worried that making her work to earn money will harm her grades and have significant ramifications for her future. Casey said, well, she should have thought about that before destroying my car. I don't care. I'm not going to speak to any of you unless I have my car replaced. I responded that she was free to avoid speaking to me as long as she wanted to, but I'm not going to permanently harm her sister's future to get her a car earlier. I had a job when I was in school, and like I feel like having jobs honestly can help you have the structure needed to actually do well in school.
I understand that they're saying like she's already having trouble with managing schoolwork and stuff. I just don't know I really don't know. Like I can't tell you because I'm not a doctor, you know, if it will affect her, but I feel like, I don't know, they could they could figure out something, some sort of schedule that works for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like just like working a couple hours a day,
Yeah.
you know, after school is not gonna hurt you.
Sure.
So my wife agrees with me that we need to stand firm on our position, but is genuinely afraid that Casey will never speak to us again. I understand that her car was ruined, but I, as a parent, I need to look out for all my children, not just one. I also don't want to set the precedent that emotional blackmail will work, even if what you're asking for is unreasonable. So am I the a-hole? What do we think? Is OP the a-hole?
I understand that OP is trying to do the thing that works best for the family and is not doing it maliciously, but I do think that he is not doing the thing that benefits his daughters. Either of them.
Yeah, I agree. Either.
Yeah.
He's not teaching
I think it is. I
one
think
daughter
it's not good for
accountability.
either.
Yeah, pretty rough. But we got an update. But is OP the a-hole? I think OP's the a-hole. So comment 1. Anyone wondering how much convincing it took for Casey to let Alana drive her car? OP, no convincing at all. We weren't even involved in the combo between them. Commenter 2, I'm with Casey on this one. You're coddling your youngest and you have no idea if having a job could actually help your youngest learn to manage her time. You've left your oldest hanging. Edit to add, if Alana can get her driver's license, she can get a job. And commenter 3, you're the a-hole. You're crapping all over Casey to protect Alana from the consequences of her actions. If her condition is that bad, why was she allowed to drive in the first place?
Which is a great point.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
I've got an update from the wife.
Ooh,
a little double trouble.
Wow.
Double trouble. So I, 39 female, and my husband, 43 male, have 2 daughters, 16, who we'll call Alana, and 17, who I'll call Casey. Casey has held down a steady job for over a year now and was able to get herself a car. Now, she got this car right as Alana passed her own driver's test. So there's a little issue between who is going to be driving. After a little persuasion, Casey did allow Alana to use her car so long as somebody else paid for gas. We told her that wasn't going to cut it. Alana doesn't have money for that, and it's her car, her responsibility to keep gas in it and keep it on the road. Wait.
Wait, I'm sorry.
wait.
That's an insane thing. That's crazy.
Here's where it gets difficult. Alana wrecked it about a month ago. Luckily, she was fine aside from a broken wrist and a mild concussion. But Casey was fuming the entire time and seemed to have this expectation that we would be replacing her car. Her and my husband got into it and she threw her arms up like a child and stopped speaking to us. We coaxed her into going to family therapy, though it wasn't productive, as she and the therapist agreed that it'd be best to maintain the reduced contact until she's paid back. The therapist agreed.
The therapist agreed.
Here's the problem. The car was 15 grand. She saved up every penny for a year for that car. She'd asked us about it twice a week if we changed our mind, and obviously the answer was no, but that was the only thing she'd say to us. It didn't seem to bother my husband, and he kept saying she'll get over it until last week. She packed some things and had my mother come get her. She's been staying at her grandmother's for a little over a week now, and she gave me a good earful. Whatever Casey told her it worked, because earlier today, my husband and I were informed we had 30 days to replace the car in full, or she was taking us to court.
Good. Yes. The therapist, your mom are all saying,
Yeah.
pay your daughter back.
Yeah. I imagine
She spent 15. Do you know?
I bet you they have the money to pay her back too.
Yeah.
And are just choosing not
$15,000
to.
at 17.
That's everything.
That's that's crazy. I had $2 at 17.
I think my husband is admirable in wanting to stand his ground, but the way I'm looking at it, we have two options. And I am sick of my daughter not talking to me because of crap that is not my fault.
It is your daughter, therefore it is your fault.
Alana has been a wreck. She's already battling severe ADHD, and now she's shaking at the thought of having to appear in court.
She doesn't have to appear in court if you pay back your daughter.
So I sat them both down and said we have two options. We can suck it up, pay $15,000, and have our daughter and sister back, and Alana will just have to buck up and work. Yes.
Yes.
Or we can let my dad sue my husband and I on Casey's behalf and almost certainly lose. At least they know. We spoke to 4 different firms and all 4 echoed the similar sentiment that would probably cost us close to triple in the end to bring it to court and fight it there. So that's when I told my husband that I am not going 30 grand further into debt for him to hold the pettiest grudge. He's saying I'm being manipulative by holding this whole situation over his and Alana's heads. I'm not saying it's not part my fault. All I said was that no matter what, at the end of the day, we owe Casey and he needs to just accept that.
Okay, so she's kind of come around
That's
after
good.
the threat of
oh my
being
God.
sued.
Imagine the threat of like legal action being the thing that gets you to come around.
Thank God Casey has her, grandparents.
Yeah, and thank God we have the law. We can afford $15,000 to replace the car, but if we have to dish out double that just to lose in court anyway, I'm divorcing him before he makes that mistake.
Also, literally said we can afford $15K.
Yeah. In either case, I'm done not supporting both of my daughters. We've tried reasoning with Casey, and it has resulted in nothing. I feel like she's flip-flopping.
Well, I feel like she's, I don't know, kind of come around within this post.
Yeah, but it's like she's kind of come around, but she's like also mad about it.
Yeah, she's like,
it's almost like what it feels like. It's like logically, this is what we need to do because we're gonna owe that money.
Yes.
But I'm mad about doing it.
Yeah, that's what it. I agree.
We've tried reasoning with Casey, and it has resulted in nothing. We lost this one. Am I the a-hole for trying to get my husband to accept it? I feel I may be, just for how long I was being a passenger, no pun intended, in the situation, and for threatening my husband with divorce. I don't think we did anything that wrong, but I'm willing to admit when we made some mistakes, and we have to make up for it somehow. But yeah, the wife is the a-hole,
also,
right?
Yeah, the consensus spot says wife is also the a-hole.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you guys are, the only reason that she's kind of coming around is because of the legal action.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, and
they don't recognize their wrongs.
But we got some more stuff. So, relevant comments. OP and her husband need to get Alana to pay Casey back for damaging her car. OP, what is she supposed to do? Magically come up with thousands of dollars to pay the oldest back? It's not a matter of not wanting to hold people accountable. It's simply not realistic. I also want to state on the record, I was very against Casey getting a car that nice as her first. She saved up her money.
She saved up her own money.
She never listened. Insurance would have likely paid for some if she would have just put her sister as an approved driver on the plan. It would not have been difficult. But no, it's not Alana's fault that she has ADHD. It's not like she wrecked it on purpose. Comp for one. Casey saved up $50,000 and didn't pay the $300 a month to get insurance? Nope. Sounds like Alana wrote this and doesn't know how insurance works. Oh, did Alana write this? Alana, pay for the gas if you drive the car. And then OP says, she had insurance, but they really screwed us over because Casey didn't approve Alana as a driver on the plan.
Sense.
That was a big determining factor in us deciding to hold firm. If Alana would have been approved on the plan, we would have covered the remainder on what the insurance was offering.
But why wouldn't they have done that?
But this is the result of Casey's decision. Hence, I agreed with my husband that it's fully her responsibility. I just didn't expect her to sue us out of nowhere like this, and I especially didn't expect my parents to be enabling this behavior. What's in her best interest might suck now, but she'll learn from it in the future. My husband's been fuming for weeks over this, and a lot of you are saying he even made a post, but if they ruled not the a-hole, then he wasn't telling the full story. Alana broke her arm in that wreck, and all Casey's cared about the past month is her car.
$15,000.
That's the genesis behind the family therapy, and I'm very concerned that so many people are supporting her entitled behavior. OP is blaming her parents for enabling Casey into suing OP and her husband. OP says, I'm not absolving them of blame either. They're the ones enabling Casey in all of this. Are you forgetting that it's my mom and dad suing on her behalf? You're nuts if you think they won't be hearing from me. Results will be danged. I'm getting angry telephone calls for a week over this crap storm. Somebody has to answer for that. Even her uncles are on her side in this. Probably because she's right.
Yeah, the fact that the law, her family, the therapist are all on her side.
Come on. Like at this point, you got to ask yourself, maybe you're in the wrong.
I'm like, it really upsets me that they're like, well, she made a choice to not have Alana be insured. It's like, I'm sorry, if your 17-year-old daughter and your 16-year-old daughter are working out their own like driving deal, maybe check in to make sure all of the insurance is okay.
Well, I think
you're the parent.
You know what I could hear them saying? It's like, well, it's your responsibility to insure your car, so you should insure it with everyone who would be driving it.
Probably.
Yeah, just like they were expecting Casey to pay for gas. Yeah. OP on what she and her husband do for Casey. OP says, we feed her, we clothe her, we're going to send her to college. She had a place to park that car because of us. And oh, by the way, my husband got under there and fixed the tie rod about a month ago after she got it. For all of you saying about how awful he is, he loves Casey, we both do, but I didn't see her putting that car up in the air to redo the brakes and fix the AC when she hit a deer. That was all her father. Wow. I figured that allowing her sister to also drive their car was more than a fair ask for all he did, and is a big reason why I supported him, and I just hate that I apparently can't support him and love my daughters.
That sounds a little bit different.
Their car.
Than Alana saying, oh, can I drive your car? And Casey saying, yeah, of course. That sounds like he helped fix Casey's car and then said, can you let Alana drive your car? That's what that sentence sounds like. I don't know if I'm misreading or reading into it. But it sounds like,
I feel like we're getting like weird information here.
I know. I think that we're getting more and more. It sounds to me like Casey hit a deer, something got messed up in the car. Dad comes in, fixes it, and says, oh, because I helped you, you have to let Alana drive your car. That's what this sounds like to me.
How does that make you feel?
Not good.
Why?
Because it makes me feel like they're lying to us.
Yeah, I feel like they're lying to make themselves look better.
Yes.
I don't know. Feels like unreliable narrator.
I agree.
But if that's the resolution you all want, forget it. Casey's going to take us to court. And then when she loses, she's going to throw another fit. But that's better than dishing out $15,000 for a car we're not even going to drive. It's not lost on me that we owe her. We just don't owe her that much. She'll come around when she realizes how the world works.
You're going to realize how the world works, man.
Another update. We're like barely more than halfway through.
They are going to come crashing down so hard.
But let's get in to this next update. 3 weeks later. It's been a few weeks since I last updated, and I want to start out by addressing a few things that opened my eyes a little bit in regards to the situation. Let's hope the eyes are open. The first thing being my husband's post, which came well before my own. He and I fought over that. I truthfully didn't love that he used real names. However, when I found out he posted for the sake of transparency, I used real names as well. But with that being said, I went through with the difficult decision to serve him divorce papers. I'm confused.
What?
I'm confused. It sounds like
it was the wife's perspective in the last thing we just heard, right? The one where she was like, yeah, we're taking him to court.
Yeah.
Because originally she was like, I'm going to divorce him if we go to court.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm taking her to court.
Well,
and then she's like, I'm divorcing
she's
him.
like, I'm not going to take her to court, but like she's going to find out if she takes us to court how, effed up it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it feels like she's partly on his side.
Yes, which is what it doesn't make sense.
To really abbreviate things, I went to therapy, as a lot of you suggested, and I was assessed with a diagnosis for an obsessive compulsive disorder in my second session. And in my third session, we discussed the whole car situation, and my personal therapist explained it to me in a way that made it hard not to feel awful for Casey.
Now we have two therapists on Casey's side.
That are be like, you effed over Casey. The discussion we had covered quite a lot, but the common denominator in everything that's been going wrong, in large part, has been my husband. But you supported his decision.
She's playing such
what
the
am
victim.
I not getting?
Well, she's victimizing herself. She's
yeah.
like, oh, it wasn't my fault. It was my husband all along.
Read back your last post.
Yeah.
He's the reason Casey shared her car. He's the reason Alana got hurt driving on her own. And he's the reason we're set for court in barely a week and still don't have an attorney.
Okay. So again, we have now confirmation that he did in fact ask Casey to share the car.
Dude, I think she's divorcing him so she
doesn't have to pay for the $15K. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and me, I don't know what I've been doing, but it hasn't been being a mother, if I'm honest. One of you asked me straight up, why was I being a passenger? And I just don't have a good answer. I let my parents know about the divorce, and they were a little concerned, but what I didn't expect was for Casey to reach out. Last time we talked was mostly her and my husband butting heads. I really thought she was about to turn on a spit, but I've never heard her cry like that, at least not since she was much younger. I make a little bit more than my husband, but finding an apartment was brutal, especially with Alana wanting to come with me. I don't think I was clear enough about how badly I wanted to pay Casey back before, but I do. Most of my money is in joint savings though, so there isn't much I can afford, but my husband wasn't going to back down. I won't lie. I was selfish. I begged Casey to drop my name from her suit.
Wow, shocking. We're all shocked.
I told her I would pay what I could afford to get this second, which wasn't much in comparison. And she told me that it wasn't so much the car or the value on its own she wanted back. It was the security to have something of her own. And she listed off probably dozens of instances where Alana got first pick over her, and it was very hard to refute. So Alana is golden child.
Absolutely.
She told me that losing that much money sucked, which I fully understand. But the bigger loss to her was that her first big girl purchase, which a lot of friends and family were excited about, was now going to be remembered as a family-ending disaster.
I just don't understand how they could not get how big of a deal $15,000 is to anyone.
To anyone.
And like most of all, a 17-year-old.
We agreed to breakfast next week and joint therapy, us two, and her only condition was that I don't at any point try to save him from the suit, which I agreed to. Alana came to me even before my last post saying she only drove so far because my now ex-husband pressured her into picking up a grocery order early for something he wanted to make. This also changed my perspective. I was under the impression that she was doing her own thing, but even my husband owned up to it, which is ground my gears, but I put it together. A legal driver, an expensive car, not insured and under pressure. Alana drove, but I've come to realize that my ex-husband seems to have a tendency to like pressure people.
Oh my God.
He's pressured me a lot too. I don't know, dude. I feel like she's not taking any responsibility.
She's not taking any. She got herself off the suit.
Yeah. He probably pressured Casey into letting Alana drive at all, which brings me back to her, and we finished our talk with better terms. I owe her so much more than breakfast, but I'm just beyond grateful that she's even willing to look at me. I've seen a lot of bold assumptions that I hate Casey and that I vastly favor Alana.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of been true. But I only feel the second part was ever accurate. I've never hated my own daughter. I was frustrated with her over something I've come to realize wasn't her fault. As of now, I'm just adjusting to a much quieter place and my phone buzzing nonstop. I've only been moved out for 5 days and Alana seems so much less anxious to me, at least. It's odd because my place now isn't anywhere near what the house is, but I think last night, probably the first time I've slept 8 hours since high school. Today was productive, and for Casey, I'll admit, I hope she wins. I hope she gets her car and then some. As for the divorce, I don't want much material. I won't say no to it. I'd rather just have my share of joint savings and try to tackle my own issues, of which I guess I have more than I would have been willing to admit a month ago. I know I'm going to get pelted most likely, but I want you to know I'm thankful. The internet is mean, but it tells the truth. And however this turns out, it's largely your comments that helped me see what I was doing was wrong and who was enabling those things. And most importantly, how I could stop it. It's time like this where my dad would tell me, I'm not lucky, I'm privileged. And I think that applies here. I'm privileged that my daughter didn't just laugh, even though she could and arguably should have. By the way, you should laugh with us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but what do we feel about everything this person is saying?
I don't trust her.
I don't trust her.
I don't trust her.
I feel like she's going to use this in court as a way to like exonerate herself.
I don't know. know. I just think it's like really convenient timing.
Too convenient.
You know, like she was still kind of culpable in the whole car situation.
So much so, and now she's trying
has
to pull all
completely
the
exonerated herself from any of the giving back any of that money.
Yeah, I think she's fully protecting herself.
Yeah.
But there is some more updates. So that's the update. I'll update whenever Casey and I meet, barring she's comfortable with it. And then you probably won't hear from me until the whole suit and divorce is over and done with. I just wanted Reddit to know I hear you all. I wish I could have seen the reason when I first posted. I'm frustrated reading my own comments. Therapy is a powerful thing. And so, Commenter 1, it's great that you seem to have changed your tune a bit, but this still screams
I agree.
of avoiding being held accountable.
Yep.
Your ex-husband may have been the driving force behind the fallout with Casey, but you were trying very hard to place blame on Casey in your initial post and subsequent comments, and it's hard for me to believe you switch sides that easily. I hope Casey gets the outcome she deserves from all this, whether that's your ex-husband being taken to the cleaners or both of you. Commenter 2, you're still the a-hole.
Yep.
You allow this all to happen. Your daughter bought the car and it was okay to let the other daughter drive it and not have to pay for gas. Take some responsibility and realize you are a crap parent. That is where that story ends.
Yeah, I agree.
Frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's
frustrated.
just frustrating that like her kind of revelation is, oh, I was never at fault for anything. It was always my husband. He was the bad guy all along.
Yeah, I'm just appalled that she doesn't believe that people would see through that a massive charade.
Yeah, like you don't just like get out of it that easily. It's not one therapy appointment, and it's like,
yeah, therapy's changed me so much. No, you go to years of therapy and maybe you become less of an.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jan?
I was gonna say she definitely flipped after she posted that.
Yeah.
And then the internet was like, "You're an a-hole," and
She
she's
was
like,
even
"Oh no,
flipping while she was posting it.
Yeah.
Like even in the post, it was. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah, she's like, "Wait, no."
It wasn't me. I swear. I didn't do anything wrong. But that is where that story ends.
My husband got jealous during our wedding because of a girl from his past.
Uh-oh, this sounds familiar.
I, 25 female, got married to my husband, 24 male, Jim, a week ago after dating for 2.5 years. Jim has a friend called Misha, 22 female, who was invited to the wedding. He and Misha have known each other since high school and were close friends, and Misha had a very obvious crush on Jim from what he and others who know them have told me. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Wedding Night, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Hey.
And if you know people have crushes on your partners, don't invite them to your wedding.
Ooh.
So, Jim told me this after I met Misha for the first time and confessed that he leaned into her crush and led her on throughout their high school years and for a little while after, before we got together, because he was struggling with his mental health and he really liked her attention. He seemed genuinely guilty about all of that because he thought Misha was a nice girl and a good friend. And because he showed guilt, I didn't feel the need to bring it up or argue about it, despite thinking it was a crappy thing to do. Plus, Misha is a nice girl who has never overstepped boundaries and has been nothing but kind and friendly towards me. And I now consider her a friend too. Misha moved away to the city last year and has done really well for herself and has a long-term boyfriend who none of us have met yet. So when it came to sending wedding invites, I told her she was welcome to bring him as her +1.
Is it the boyfriend from Canada?
Yeah.
Is this the boyfriend from camp?
He's a boyfriend from another school across town. You guys don't know him. So the first red flag came when Jim was weirdly resistant to the idea of Misha bringing her boyfriend, but he excused it on being concerned about the number of guests we invited, and the matter was dropped. Sophia, you got a thought over there?
He wants to marry Misha.
Ooh. He wants a Misha marriage.
He wants to marry Misha.
A Misha marriage.
Oh my God. When the wedding day came, Misha showed up in this beautiful dress, nothing inappropriate for a wedding, and with her boyfriend on her arm, who I'll admit is a very handsome guy. Think a Kit Harington type. Say, McQueen. It's McQueen.
What's that accent?
As Kit Harington saying McQueen in Game of Thrones. Anyway.
Wait, who is Kit Harington?
Kit Harington is Jon Snow.
Ah, yes.
She's also lost weight and has a haircut that suits her better, and I thought she looked great. We also found out throughout the night that her boyfriend is very successful and earns more than practically anyone else who attended.
I bet is that because they told you that?
Who knows? Throughout the reception, I noticed Jim glaring at Misha and her boyfriend the whole time, and he was really cold and short towards her when she came over to congratulate us and give us a gift.
Well, it's cold and short up north.
Oof, yeah.
Got him.
I know that's right. He was also straight up kind of rude to her boyfriend when Misha introduced us to him. When his mom, who has always known and liked Misha, mentioned that she was glad Misha found a great guy and praised her boyfriend for being so nice, Jim snapped, at least she won't be desperate, and hung up on me for the rest of her life, which I thought was cruel and uncalled for.
Oh, God.
Jimbo, what are we doing? What are we doing, Jimbo?
Yeah, at least she'll finally get over me, I guess.
Oh, Jimmy.
Not good.
However, I didn't challenge him because I didn't want to argue at my wedding, despite the fact that he frankly sounded bitter. The whole thing has left an awful taste in my mouth, and I can't help but think that Jim got jealous that Misha has found a guy who's honestly quite a catch, who she's clearly very in love with, and is now completely over Jim. We have a little half update here. After getting some PMs from people, I decided to go through his phone while he was napping after work, and needless to say, this marriage is over. Whoa! Ooh! I'll post a real update when I have everything sorted out. Whoa!
Oh, it's about to get crazy.
Oh my God. Okay, so. All right. Thoughts, theories?
I mean, maybe it's the classic. You don't want them until you can't have them.
That's right.
Jim's the husband's name, right?
Jim, yeah.
Jim
Good
was
old
just
Jim.
was just like, oh, it's all good. She can come to the wedding, whatever. The second, not only was she taken, but taken by a rich Jon Snow.
Rich Jon Snow. And she's also, she's got a better haircut and a slimmer figure.
Dude, I mean, Jim's a whack ball for this.
And I wonder what he said. Do you think he sent desperation texts? You think he sent like messages to Misha like, I saw you and I realized that actually I've always been in love with you all my whole life.
I think he's gonna be like, yeah, I'll leave her for you.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm calling it.
All right.
Let's
get. We got some comments. Stuck in my mind. 77 says it's giving bitter. Can't imagine how that must have been for you. Says a lot about his character, to be honest. OP says it felt a lot like watching a kid get upset at another kid for playing with a toy they personally never wanted to play with in the first place, if that makes any sense. And guys, I'm just going to go right to the update. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Pretty much the day after my original post, I got some PMs from people suggesting that I go through my husband Jim's phone to see if he and Misha were truly just friends before this, and that nothing romantic happened between them that would explain his reaction at the wedding. He always takes a 45-minute nap after work, and so I used that as my opportunity to swipe his phone from where it was charging on his desk so that I could look through it. I've seen him put in this passcode a ton of times, so that wasn't an issue. OP, now you're the a-hole.
Uh-oh, you snooping.
You're betraying a man in his most sacred hour? Nap time?
Nappy time.
Clearly, I'm just kidding. But if you feel like you got to snoop, there's already bigger problems.
Yeah.
I didn't find anything in his text messages with her, but I know that Jim goes on Instagram a lot, so I checked there too. The immediate red flag was that he'd used an app lock that required a passcode to access Instagram, but the dumb butt used the same passcode that he uses to unlock his phone.
Oops.
So I got into it right away. And what would you know? I go to his messages with Misha and find messages from him the morning after our wedding, telling her how beautiful she'd looked that night, how much he'd missed her, how he felt that her boyfriend being there spoiled his opportunity to catch up with her, and that he was desperate to meet up with her.
Oh, dude.
Misha never replied to these messages, and he sent some more to her later that day.
Oh no.
Hey.
No, I thought that was going to be it, but it's going to be worse.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, being right never felt so terrible.
Right?
Ugh. Just, you open the phone with all these messages on the screen, you can smell the desperation oozing from the pixels.
I don't like it.
I won't get into what he said because they were very personal insults that were frankly just gross, but just think about the kind of stuff you would read on that nice guys subreddit. Misha left him on red, and when I clicked on her account, it appears that she's blocked him. I scrolled through their messages quite far back, and I believe nothing romantic has happened between them. Yeah, I think you can believe that just based on how Misha reacted,
Yep.
which was immediate. Oh, blocked. Blocked. I wish that was all. But looking into his other conversations on Instagram, I found that he's been messaging other girls on there. They seemed like aspiring Instagram model types from our area. Did you click on one of those ads? There's hot local aspiring Instagram models types in your area. They want to talk to you.
Click 3 weird laws that aspiring Instagram models in your area are going to follow. Also, do you want to meet up with them?
Most of these conversations were just him shooting his shot and getting left on red, but others had evolved into flirting, and 2 of them resulted in spicy texting.
Oh, God.
And the most embarrassing part of it all, the noodles he was sending to these women weren't even of him. I know what his body looks like, and he doesn't have chiseled abs and isn't that well endowed.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Bro needs a lot of help.
Dang, dude. Bro's so pathetic, he's become pathetological.
Okay, wait a second. I have to ask this very quickly. What is worse, him actually sending nudes of himself or using someone else?
I think, funny enough, using someone else.
Yeah.
If I'm like a partner, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, my partner doesn't even have it going on enough to send pictures of himself to these women. Not only is he cheating on me, but he's even insecure about cheating on me.
Yeah.
Like, that is double bad.
As Hannah says, it's just getting so sad. Like, yeah, this is just sad. Like, golly.
At least you won't have to have this guy as your husband anymore.
Yep.
So I think he must have found a man's profile on some adult website and used those pictures and just cropped the face out. These 2 conversations happened in the past 6 months. I ended up texting his mom and his brother from my phone, asking them to come and pick him up from the apartment, and then I went to wake him up. I told him that I knew about the girls he was messaging on Instagram and that he needed to pack a bag and get out before I started throwing his stuff onto the street and causing a scene. He started crying and begging me not to remove him from our house and swore that they were just messages and that he would never actually cheat on me.
Dude.
But I don't believe him for a second.
You've already cheated, my guy. You've already done it.
I think your clear, like, aching desire to cheat on her with Misha, though, pretty clear, right? Like, even if nothing else had happened,
yes,
just the messages you sent to Misha would have been enough to be like, all right, so we're not doing this, right?
The Misha messages in terms of him, like, reaching out, wanting to get with her, and all the messages afterwards of, like, oh, if he doesn't, like, get his way, he will turn into a nasty monster baby boy. So I'm all the way out. That's a no for me, dog.
Disgusting. Then he had the nerve to tell me that he didn't want me to tell anyone else about what he'd done, but I had left the room and started ignoring him by that point. He left with his mom and brother and is staying there now, from what I know. I've blocked him on everything for the time being until I'm ready to tell him that I'm seeking annulment. Thankfully, where I'm from, you can get one almost no questions asked as long as you haven't been married for longer than 30 days, and I've already looked into the process. I haven't really left my apartment at all this week, and I've been calling in sick to work because I don't feel like I can face people. I'm just so embarrassed that I've wasted over 2 years on this man, and that I married him in the first place. I don't feel like I can even talk to people about this, so posting here has helped, and I'd like to thank you all for your kind words, advice, and support. I might reach out to Misha when the dust is settled, but I think I'll need to build up some courage for that. And we have a second update 4 months later.
4 months later? I'm afraid. Because what happened that warranted a whole update 4 months later?
Maybe just chatting with Misha. Hopefully it's just a nice little Misha chat.
Maybe her and Misha become besties. That would be great. That would be an awesome update.
Yeah. Yeah, and they live happily ever after.
I hope so.
Let's get into this second update.
Let's see it.
With much mystery and intrigue.
Ooh.
Hello, everyone. I just thought I'd give an update to my situation since I still get messages of support on here every week or so. You'll be glad to hear that I was able to get the annulment and I didn't have to go through a messy divorce with Jim.
Let's freaking go.
Let's go.
Yes.
I struck an agreement with him that I wouldn't tell a soul about his cheating or what happened with Misha and would leave him alone forever if he agreed to the annulment and got it over quickly. I did end up sticking to my end of the bargain, but it ended up not mattering because it turns out his brother is quite the gossip and let the cat out of the bag over Christmas after getting into an argument with Jim while wasted.
Nice. Justice has a way of being served.
Yeah, was that JD? JD, is that the Justice Department or Jack Daniels?
Oh,
Boom.
nice one.
A lot of Jim's family were pissed and asked for the money they contributed to his half of the wedding fund back.
Ooh.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And some of our mutual friends have cut contact with him. A couple of our friends plastered everything on Facebook and humiliated him. And it was interesting to watch the back and forth between them and Jim, honestly. I lived in our apartment and covered the rent on my own while he lived at his parents' until the lease ended back in January. Now I'm living with my dad, and I plan to stay here for a while and take things easy. In January, I also tried reaching out to Misha via text, asking if she'd like to meet up for coffee to talk about anything. I never got a response directly from her, but a few days later, I got a call from her number, and it was her boyfriend on the other end.
Oh.
He said they were both sorry for what had happened to me, and that they hope I'm doing well, but that Misha thought it was best to cease any contact as this whole ordeal had made her anxiety and mental health problems spiral and had landed her back in therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't have to be involved, you know? I totally respect that.
Mental health issues aside, if I'm Misha, I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say anything.
100%.
Leave
It's
me
like,
out of it.
I was pulled into this. I did literally nothing.
Yeah.
And all this crap happened. So
I'm out. I don't want to really talk to you, and I don't feel you shouldn't really want to talk to me. Just leave.
yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
I did ask her why she never told me that Jim had messaged her the day after the wedding, and her boyfriend confessed that he advised her not to get involved. His direct words were, "I'm sorry to sound rude, but it's not her circus." Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little disappointed that she doesn't want to talk to me, but I get where she's coming from, and I can't force her to do anything. To be honest, I think she's been looking for a way to divorce herself from our hometown and the people she and Jim knew back in high school for a while now. As for me, I'm also in therapy as I want to sort through these feelings and get back to feeling good about myself again before I even think about entering the dating scene.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can enter our scene night or day, rain or shine. All you need is to take yourself over to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can tap into the full episodes with stories just like this one. Over 2,000 episodes. Over 60 days worth of listening hours. Wow.
Very nice.
We do have a little bit more story here. Do we have any thoughts, Sophia?
I think we have at least 5 minutes worth of thoughts.
Oh.
I think you should tell your thoughts.
We have so many thoughts.
Granted.
You know, Jim has exposed himself to be the like quintessential nice guy. The guy who is so insecure, you know, cheating at the drop of a hat. Who knows what else he's done in the past of the relationship. This is just like recently. Would have got with Misha if she let him. Like it's just everything he does. He's in inverse of Midas touch. Everything he touches turns to Dookie. So I think we need to take him where the Dookie is, and that is the garbaggio, and just toss him out.
Leave him behind.
Leave him behind.
Don't get bitter. Don't get nasty. Just leave him in the past.
Yeah, get your therapy, get your self-love on, and just keep on trucking. That's what I think.
I agree. I agree with all of that. Do you have any idea the raw willpower I had to channel to not cut you off after you said Jim exposed himself? To not immediately jump
Dakota,
in
I'm
with
proud of you.
Well, yeah, he exposed himself, except he exposed actually some random guy when he sent those pictures to those Instagram models. Zing!
I'm very proud of you.
I held that in.
Dude, you
For as
crushed that.
long as possible. I still let it out.
No, that was perfect timing.
I'm powerless.
It was perfect timing, dude.
I still...
I'm very proud of you.
a prisoner of my own insane, twisted mind.
His own brain.
Okay, but you know what? We're ready.
Let's get into it.
We're ready. We're ready to finish this story.
You haven't finished the story yet?
So,
Buckle in.
I thought you had finished the story.
huh?
Okay, you can go. You're
What?
good. Perfect.
Sophia, we're gonna iron these out. I've also been firm about ending friendships with anyone who's taken Jim's side, as I don't want him finding his way into my life again. So far, he stayed away from me and hasn't tried to contact me, although his mom reached out over Christmas to ask me if there was any chance I might forgive Jim and take him back,
Oh no.
as in her opinion, you two are just meant to be together.
No.
Imagine she calls Jim and she's like, look, I wasn't made aware about what your mommy thought about this situation. Now that mommy's told me she wants us to be together, I guess I'll give it a shot.
No, mommy. No.
I didn't respond to her, and I've blocked her on pretty much everything now.
There we go.
Thank you again for all your kind words and support. I'm certain leaving that a-hole would have been harder for me had I not had hundreds of comments backing me up. And that is the end of that story.
Positive social proof. We love to see it.
We do.
Good for OP.
We do.
Good for OP. Get away from all of the madness. Get far away and live your life.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You don't even need to pick it apart anymore.
Get in
It's
the
just-
mess? We already know. We already know it's a mess.
You should high five yourself every day. You're like, I dodged that bullet.
Yes.
Let's freaking go.
Yeah. Thank God the annulment was good.
Mm,
It was easy. My goodness.
we did it.
But ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of that episode.
It is.
It's a travesty.
Wow. Well, and you know what? You know what they say when it's the end of the episode.
What do they say, Dakota?
If you love us, make sure you subscribe.
If you if you love us, make sure to subscribe, dude. You messed. Literally, it totally threw me off.
Because I said two instead of you.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just like
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
My husband thinks I became too protective of my daughter, but I can't help it.
Help it.
Trigger warning, brief mentions of an accident, injury, and ensuing death of an infant. Burner account because my main is easily connected to the hospital I work at. 13 months ago, I, 27 female, had the happiest day of my life. Gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, Amy, female 1. She has her daddy's eyes and my face. And despite being a little underweight when she was born, she has always been developing perfectly. She was everything we ever wished for, especially after several years of struggling to conceive. And this comes from Sad Display 40. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So recently I went back to work as a nurse at the hospital. My husband, Sandro, male 31, is independently employed and can work from home and watch Amy at the same time while I work. Since I went back to work, my home life has become tense. I see so many accidents at work for kids of all ages, but especially the ones involving younger kids hit me hard, even when I'm not the one treating them. I've been very protective and careful since she was born, but it has become worse since I went back to work. Just leaving her alone during the nights has become hard. When she cries, I immediately run over because I fear something has happened. When Sandro puts Amy to bed, I always have to double check that no choking hazards are in the bed, that everything around her is properly secured, that the windows are closed, and the list goes on. It's not because I distrust Sandro and his abilities as a dad. He's a great husband and father, a gentle giant who vowed to be a great father and so far has been. He's a seemingly typical ex-military legend, but he is a total girl dad.
Oh.
Amy's first birthday, he was in a princess dress and baked cupcakes.
That's so cute.
He has now started the plans to build a giant play castle in the garden for when she is older. Sadly, Sandro did not have a good father, so while I was pregnant, he was extremely anxious that he turn out to be the same monster. Now that I'm so overprotective, double check after my husband. He is hurt and feels like I am downing him. He always asks me to trust him, and I do. But I know from experience that even the best and most responsible parents can even make mistakes. And some of those mistakes can cost them the lives of their babies. Ooh, this is tricky.
Ooh, I think I was thinking about it, and I feel like when you're in like healthcare profession, like a nurse or a doctor, I think that you can kind of go two routes as a parent. You can either be like super, super protective because you're seeing all of these things where kids get hurt and stuff. Or you're like, that kid's fine.
Yeah.
Like they come to you and they're like, I'm sick. And you're like, take an aspirin.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, I feel like that is the two routes that often happen.
And it happens with people at work.
And you're a first-time mom.
Mhm.
You're both first-time parents. Of course, you're going to be nervous. However, being parents, like as a unit, involves a lot of trust. And if you can't trust your partner, then there's deeper problems in your relationship.
It's so hard to have an occupation that doesn't bleed into your like personal life.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I can't really enjoy certain pieces of content because I know the retention rate is not that high, or the intro could have been better, or like the thumbnail could have had a different title. 100 million things. And even when I watch people live stream, oh dude, it's a whole nother thing. I can't even watch live streamings. Yeah, it's tough. You,
Yeah.
Keon, what about you? Anytime anyone ever asks you advice on computers, what do you say?
It depends on who's asking.
You have war flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that I know that have, like, when it comes to technology, they just have no awareness. And it just, like,
Mhm.
and there's some-
Carly says, my mom is a you're fine doctor.
shout out to
Ah,
Pam.
nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Sophia Calon says, I don't think she's overprotective. It sounds like a normal amount of worry as a healthcare worker. I think the problem that's coming up, which it seems like she's just mentioned it a little bit so far, is not that she's like, worrying abnormally. She's just not placing a lot of trust in her partner.
Doubting.
I think that's
Yeah.
the issue.
The perception of doubting your partner.
Yeah, but let's keep reading.
Sandro has tried to be understanding, especially when I explain to him that it is the same thing as him always checking the house alarm is activated and that the weapons he has around the house are all working in order before he goes on a work trip, during which I'd be alone. Just a bit of paranoia as a result of our work. It worked for a bit like that, but last week it came to a head. There was an accident with a 9-month-old, and I would say that she did not make it. I was present when we were all there and trying to revive her. I was sent home early by my boss, who knows I have a baby around the same age. That night, I cried myself to sleep in the nursery while my husband held me. Ever since that day, I've been unable to stop thinking and worrying. I've been driving Sandro nuts, requesting updates from him. I've tried to keep it to a minimum, but on a nearly hour basis. I would text him and ask where Amy was, how she was doing, and request a picture so I could spot any invisible dangers. I know Sandro is a good and overprotective parent himself, but I just want to be sure, and with my job, I know what to look for. Honestly,
But you're looking for things that aren't there and for things that aren't there.
yeah.
And in doing that, like,
what happens when the kid's a teenager?
the thing is that you have to know that your child is going to get hurt. It's impossible for your child. Like, every child, ow.
See, just like that.
Every child in the world has gotten hurt at one point, and it's not because their parents are bad parents. When I was like a couple years old, I like was jumping on a couch and I accidentally tripped and face planted onto a sharp dollhouse. And I had like a huge like bump on my head.
Did it fix it?
Yeah. But I think I still have a very light, it was like when I was really young.
No, did it fix your face?
That's messed up. That's messed up. Anyway, it's not because my parents were neglecting me. It's not because they're bad parents. It's because kids get hurt.
It's a part of life. It's a part of them, like,
Yeah.
when you touch like the fire, like you get too close to the fire, like, it's hot. You can tell a kid it's like, gonna be hot, but like, I want to know if it's hot or not. Like,
yeah. And I think OP is, unfortunately, because she's around all of this, like, she sees the worst of the worst kind of situations where kids get hurt. That's all she's thinking about.
Yeah, and as a kid gets older, you're going to have more worries. I think just going to therapy for yourself.
Absolutely, yes.
So this kid doesn't feel like they have helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Like, you got one that's a nurse that's overprotective of, like, you not getting physically harmed. And then you got a military dad that's, like, overprotective, too, that you don't also get physically harmed. And you're just going to be wrapped up in a bubble.
Yeah.
The kid's going to be like...
You're going to have a bubble boy?
Yeah. Oh, that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's Bubble Boy.
Yeah. But I think therapy, talk to your husband, get on the same page, and potentially take a, leave of absence from your job.
Sabbatical.
Yeah. It's because it's only confirming the worst of your thoughts.
Can we get a sabbatical?
No.
Will you guys let us have a sabbatical? Sandro was patient for the first 2 days, but on the third, he suddenly didn't respond after the first 2 updates in the morning. I started spamming him and calling him frantically and receiving no replies. At this point, I was completely beside myself and asked a police officer friend of mine to do a welfare check on him when he isn't in a busy or active on a call. I didn't make an official report to 911, just text a friend.
See, yeah, this is we've gone into, and someone said PBD, potentially severe anxiety. Absolutely. OP is thinking the worst, and this has gotten out of control. We need therapy. This is absolutely therapy. To call the police, regardless of if it's a friend or not, on your partner as the kind of first resort.
Turns out Sandro was in a very important meeting that he had told me about a few days ago prior, but I forgot. The meeting was with a very important client, and it was interrupted by a cop knocking and saying Amy's mother had requested a welfare check. Once the situation was cleared up with the police officer left, I was given an all clear, but no matter what Sandro did, the meeting was ruined and the deal fell through. Public image is very important in my husband's area of work, and a cop coming for a welfare check is not a good look. Oh my gosh, Sandro was furious with me. He told me that he has been patient, but I need to get a grip on my overprotectiveness, or he is going to consider at least temporary separation until I've gotten the help I need. I know he's right. I know my issues are going way too far, and they're damaging me, my husband, and my child. But at the same time, I can't help but think that I am in the right to some extent. Yes, I went too far with sending the police, but I know that. But what if something had happened? What if he fell asleep and Amy had fallen out of a high chair? What if she began choking? What if she was silently hurt and he didn't notice? At least this way, the baby would have been safe.
OP.
I told him, as much as he exploded at me, that he could handle taking care of a baby, that we can't coddle Amy that much, and that babies are more resilient than I'm giving them credit for, and that for every baby I treat, thousands are completely fine. Sandra was also angry that I clearly distrust him and think that he isn't a good dad, which isn't true, but I understand how it looks.
Yeah, OP, you're in this what if cycle. Of course anything can happen, but when you assume the worst, you're just walking, you're just living in this torture chamber that you've created in your own mind. Like someone said baby cam, maybe. Do they have a baby cam? Sure. I don't think that helps this issue though. Because this issue is beyond
also
normal solutions, because it's not a normal problem. She's got severe anxiety.
I feel like the more you worry about something, the more likely it's going to become true.
Yeah.
Because I had this random thought last week. I was like, I wonder what
self-fulfilling prophecy
Angie's house looks like during the weekday. I will never know what that's like. Yesterday I was at her house during a weekday because I had to wait on the computer to get done.
Manifesting.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful with that on that level, because you're like, oh, this might happen.
Yeah, well, when you become so overprotective, kids, I mean, as they get older, they very much want to rebel because they don't like doing, everything that they're told to do.
And then it's going to get hostile because you're going to start getting more aggravated and angry with your kid. It's not a good cycle.
No, this is I honestly think therapy, and I am thinking even more that you might need to take a break from your job.
Yeah.
Because your job is just fulfilling all of these fantasies that you're creating in your head.
We began arguing like we never argued before, including how irresponsible it was for him to turn his phone off for the meeting so I couldn't reach him. We only stopped when Amy woke up from our shouting. I went to her, but my husband was faster and sat on the couch with her. I was just watching, and he snapped at me as if he was still allowed to hold her or not. I left to go to bed without another word. Sandro apologized later for screaming, and I could tell he was genuinely upset because his own dad always screamed at his mom into submission, and he hates arguing with me in that way. Apologizing for pushing him to that point ruined his deal and possibly damaging his reputation in his social work girls. When then he said that he shouldn't have yelled, but that he meant what he said. Sandro gave me the ultimatum to either quit work/work in a different field, go to therapy and get a grip on my issues, or he will have to at least temporarily separate and maybe eventually divorce me.
I completely agree.
I'm at a loss now. I love Sandro, and I do not want to lose him. I'm willing to do as he asks, but I also feel like unlearning to be so vigilant would also be endangering Amy again. I know that's kind of the point, that I should want to unlearn to be like this, but what if something happens because I do? I would never forgive myself of my negligence caused to harm my baby. Does anyone have any experience with this overprotectiveness they could share? How can I work to even get myself to go to therapy without feeling like it's endangering Amy? How can I make sure my husband knows I can trust him?
This is so tough because OP, even in understanding that she's being overprotective, still thinks that she's right. She's still like, well, but at the, like I said, I can't stop but think, but you know, if I am not overprotective, then she's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to unlearn this.
The theme of this episode is breaking loops.
Yeah.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, we were almost at a breakthrough, breaking a loop. Now we're on the side of OP making the loops. Kimberly Fine says, she destroyed the both of them the same time, trying to feel herself better in a collection of brief moments without seeing the big picture.
Yeah. Like OP's so sure that if she is helicoptering her child, that her child will be free of all sickness and injury. And that just isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no matter how hard you try, your child will get hurt. And your job as a parent is to protect them from the big things and to teach them how to avoid those. But you can't do it this way. Because you're just going to drive yourself crazy and your partner crazy.
And your kid crazy.
And your kid crazy.
Kimberly Fine says she knows that now, but she's only considering her own wants and needs and acting without considering the ramifications. It's confirmation bias to use the outcome to justify her impulse behavior.
Absolutely. And she's in the perfect job to do that. She's got all of these examples. So I absolutely agree that his ultimatum, we don't support ultimatums.
Wait, go back up.
But she absolutely needs to quit and get therapy.
Actual Drop Air says, the issue that the first 6 months of a baby's life, they can't differentiate themselves from their mom. They think their mom is an extension of themselves and mom's body is an extension of them. I'll read one comment here. OP, you need to get checked for postpartum anxiety right now because your paranoia brain is running the show at the moment. Stop calling it overprotection and call it what it is. Paranoia and controlling. If you can possibly get transferred away from a unit with babies, that would probably be a good idea as well because your work is only fueling your fears. You're operating on confirmation bias because you only see babies that are injured. The vast majority of babies are not in the ER. Kimberly Fine called that.
Yep.
The reality is you are not going to be able to control every second of your child's life.
What I said.
And you need to accept that and trust your husband is a competent parent who doesn't need constant monitoring. How would you feel if he called the police on you while he was away? Would you feel insulted or like he was suggesting you weren't capable of caring for her? She could just as easily have an accident in your care. Part of making the decision to procreate with another person is deciding that they are a safe person to care for your shared child. You have some serious cognitive dissonance going on, saying you trust him, but also assuming that the second she is in his care alone, she is in danger. This is a mental health issue. You need to talk to your physician now today and get a referral to a therapist who can help. And
I'm probably saying the same thing that we said.
Yeah, and then comments like, here in Germany, we're a bit more relaxed as parents, but in America, you guys are just always anxious.
Which, I mean, so honestly, that is kind of a good point. There's a lot of cultural differences because even in, like, you can see it in playgrounds. Playgrounds in America are very safe. Like in Australia, there's like zip lines and trampolines at the playground. Like there's a lot of different things at playgrounds because America has so many rules surrounding what can be at a playground.
Hot take.
What?
It's going to make you fume. I think we're programmed that way. think the
program.
propaganda and like the things that are around have made us as Americans more anxious just to live as general because we're always on fear. Every time you go on the news, it's always fear, 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 fear.
I agree. I mean, but that's also a product of just the massive amount of information that we are being like given because, you know, obviously back in like people are always saying like there's so many more serial unalivers and there's so many more like of all of that stuff going on. And it's like, no, there were a lot of serial people back in the day. We just didn't have information about them.
Information about it.
And so people were letting their kids go out until nighttime and saying like, you know, my dad always tells me, yeah, my parents just said, come back when the lights turn on.
Yeah, my dad was the same thing.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. And now parents are like, I would never do that. And it's not because it's necessarily any safer. It's because we have more information about all of the things that are happening to kids.
And then the sad thing is like, oh, wait, I can become a serial killer? Dude, I'm going to start doing that.
Well,
wait,
yeah, and then
people love serial killers? Oh my God, there's so many podcasts. I'm going to be one of those.
I actually am very annoyed about the amount of glorification and the amount of coverage that these people get. But let's get into this update.
Wow, the product of our country. Sorry, I didn't mean to get us all hot. But
no, but I do agree with you about that.
Well, let's get back into the insight of this couple.
Yeah, that was a zoomed out. Let's get into the micro.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for not updating sooner, but I was waiting for everything to settle down first, and the response for my first post has absolutely been overwhelming. I'm sorry for not replying to any comments, but it's been truly a lot. Blah, 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 blah. To be honest, when I first posted here, I genuinely expected to be met with reassurance that I was not crazy, and that maybe I had to dial it down at the most. Instead, the replies were eye-openers. A day after I posted here, I sent the post to Sandro while he was in a room over and texted him that I wanted to get help, but I need to do it. He knows how hard asking for help from me is and almost immediately came over, hugged me and kissed me and told me that we were going to get through this. I truly don't deserve this man. I had a talk with my boss and it was immediately moved from the ER, and after a week of mainly doing administrative work, my boss approached me with an offer to move me to a different workplace under the same company. I would mainly work with the elderly and disabled to make their days, weeks, months as comfortable as possible. I was thinking she was going to get moved there.
That's great. This is like best case scenario.
Now you can worry when your kid gets older and what to do then.
Yeah, now you'll just worry about your own life.
Like, Sandra, no! No, don't get in the shower!
No!
Wait, let me come! Let me help. Oh, man. Now Sandro's got to watch out for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Talked to Sandro about it, and he agreed to try it as an alternative to quitting the ultimatum he gave me. After 2 days of working there to see if it fits, I agree to the offer. Because of the circumstances, I was able to start my new job on the 1st of August, and while it can be sad at times, it is much slower and almost peaceful in comparison. I even talked to some of the old women there, and they told me similar things as commenters, and even some who shared how terrifying it was to raise their own kids at times. But that I had to let Amy learn to live on her own, or I'd have a child relying on me for my entire life. Yeah.
I love this. And now she has people that can give her advice who have gone through, like, you know, parenting and stuff.
Felt like she retired.
Yeah, she's going off. No, I mean, like, I think it's pretty good to remember that the elderly people in our lives have a lot of wisdom to share, and I think we often discredit that.
It's true. Ain't that right, Keon? You give me so much good advice.
Give me so much wisdom.
Sure. Call me old.
Yeah. Well, you got older today.
Still look younger than you.
That's true.
Look at me, dude. Come on. Yeah, I don't even care if I look younger. I just like the way I look.
Anyway.
The only kids I come into contact on with the new job are healthy, strong kids visiting their grandparents.
Aww.
And I think it might be the best decision I've made in months. It has put a halt to my career and I get less pay. But thankfully with Sandro's job, we're in a position where that hardly matters. Sandro also convinced me to go to therapy. At first I agreed. To be honest, I again expected the therapist to agree with me. As you may expect, she did not.
Yeah.
My therapist is kind but stern woman. She reassures me so I don't feel crazy, but also bluntly tells me when I'm behaving irrationally. We're still in the early phases, but I see her twice a week currently. I still have a long way to go, but we're working on it. I was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety, unsurprisingly, and PTSD due to what I saw at my job, and some stuff from my own neglectful parents, which I don't want to go into detail about. I think you should. I'm speaking. Oh, that was a bad joke. I've been going through some of the comments on my original post with her, and if that matters, most of your comments are therapist approved. Thank you to everyone who suggested a camera. My husband and I talked about it and agreed to have a camera installed in the living room and nursery. I don't know how I feel about that. His office couldn't have one since he works with sensitive information, but he just works from the living room now and goes into his office for sensitive calls and meetings. It's helped a lot that I could just check in regularly on it without having to ask him. My therapist and I are trying to work towards having me check in less and less. That's now yet perfect, but I guess we'll get there.
You know, okay. If as long as the therapist is involved in this conversation, sure. If the baby cam helps, you know, and be kind of an intermediary to you getting better, all for it.
I just don't like cameras in the house, man.
Well, I mean, baby cams are super common.
Still.
They're super common.
I don't know.
You probably will, if you have a child, you probably will need to have a baby cam. You have to have
I don't know.
That's how you check on your baby at night. You have like a thing next to them.
No.
Are you just going to have the baby in your room?
I'm going to have it in the closet.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to sleep in my bed and the baby will be in the other room. I'm going to walk with my own 2 feet to check on it.
It's the baby cam okay, sure. You'll find out.
I'll find out.
You'll find out.
What about you'll find out?
I already know.
My little brother slept in a drawer. They didn't close it. They just had it open on the floor. It slept in the drawer on vacations.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I know whenever we become parents, me and Sophia are going to go like hand for hand on this. She's going to be like, your kids are just, we're not even be able to work together.
We'll be fine.
You'll be fine or I'll be fine?
We'll be fine.
Oh, we'll be fine?
We'll be fine.
We're disagreeing over a baby cam.
We'll be fine.
Chad, what are your thoughts on baby cams? Baby cam yes, baby cam no. It has also started on an accidental thing we try to do every day where I log into the cameras and Sandra and Amy sit in front of the camera and we call while eating lunch together. It's become a bit of a fun tradition this past week since I've been at my new job.
Yay!
Also, a huge thanks for the kids who grew up similarly to how I'm treating Amy. Your replies really helped me realizing that I may be keeping baby Amy safe. Teen and adult Amy will suffer from it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sandro has made it clear that he is not going to divorce me because he can see me trying. He's my rock in all of this, and I would be absolutely lost without him. Once I am in a better state of mind, we'll consider couples counseling because Sandro is still a bit hurt that I seem to mistrust him. And I understand completely. Sandro was talking to a lawyer about the possibility of making him the primary parent because my therapist has noted that we can't ignore the possibility of me getting worse if something were to happen to Amy, like a cold. And just in case Sandro wants to make it impossible for me to possibly act irrationally again and take off with her or something like it. While I absolutely hate the thought and I understand and agree to talk about it, but that has honestly taken a lesser priority right now. We've also decided to hold off on having another kid for now. Originally, we wanted to start trying for a baby again once Amy is about 18 months. My therapist agreed that it might not be a good idea currently. Probably all don't care too much, but a few days ago, Amy waved goodbye to me for the first time on her own when I left for work, without Sandro encouraging her first. I swear in that moment, it all became worth it. And I knew I had to work on myself to give my baby girl the best possible future without a paranoid mother. Aww.
Yeah.
That's super sweet. For the people saying my friend, the cop, is also at fault for enabling me, honestly, exaggerated it to him. I told him I hadn't heard from Sandro in hours and that Sandro hadn't been feeling well. I didn't file an official report or emergency line, just texted a friend to check up on Sandro when he is free. My friend has since informed me of what really happened and he told me to never ever do it again and had distanced himself because I lied to him and in a way misused his power in a controlling move.
Oof.
I am still struggling, but I'm beginning to realize that asking a friend for a wellness check was wrong, and I'm afraid that's a friendship I won't be able to salvage. All in all, it's hard, and I often wake up to check on Amy, but I'm getting to a point where checking the cameras is enough about half the time. So much has happened in the last 3 weeks since I posted, but with my husband and my angel of a boss, now former boss, I have a good support system. And by the way, if you want best support system in the freaking world virtually with your ear holes, all you got to do is go to your favorite freaking podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime, and you will have me, Sophia, Keon, Sam, Dakota, and sometimes Angie, and maybe even Carly as your support system.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Yeah, right in your ear holes. And looks like people love the baby cam.
I am seeing a lot of people saying also baby monitors as kind of an other option to a baby cam, which
Is
also
that the
makes sense.
audio one?
Yeah, you can usually get audio ones, but just something that like,
That's the one
yeah, just
I'm
a way
cool
to
with that
keep,
one.
if they're in the other room.
Yeah, I can hardwire a baby monitor with the stuff we have here.
I thought
don't
you were
need
just
one.
like, I could
There you
hardwire a
go.
baby.
Then you're good.
What?
Maybe soon we'll be able
Yeah.
to put chips in them.
What?
If I live stream the baby, I'd be fine.
What? That's
You
crazy.
won't have a baby cam, but
That's
you live stream.
That's a crazy step up. That's a crazy.
Like it's
I
like the
don't want to
lo-fi
record
beats.
that baby if I'm not making money off of it.
But have you guys seen that? There are videos like that where like,
Hey, watch my kids for a second.
yeah, literally like they're live streaming. Like I go to use the restroom.
I'm
Watch my kid.
personally
What?
anti sharing footage of.
But have you
Of-
seen that? Those are
Yes.
things.
Yeah,
That's
it's funny.
insane to me.
I've
Like
seen a lot of
someone's
that.
live streaming. and
Yeah,
like, hey,
I'm
watch my
personally
baby.
anti that, but
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
Nah. But yeah, we've got everyone's on the baby cam or baby monitor side.
Well, if I had no computer hooked up to the internet and it had footage, maybe I just don't like the idea of downloading an app and kind of have an idea that other
wouldn't
people
be an
can
app.
see it.
You would have there are things that you can get. There are like 2 monitors that you have. So you have one like the cam or the monitor like listening, and then the one in your room. So it's
Someone
not like
hack
on
it?
your. I think someone said you can get one that's like not Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get
Alright.
ones that like aren't necessarily
I will think about it.
yeah.
I just don't want Ring to have
No,
information on
you
my
wouldn't.
house.
Yeah, I understand that.
OP continues. It's still a struggle at times. I feel like this post sounds a little bit more positive than things really are right now. It's hard for me to accept that I am in the wrong, and some days it almost feels like I'm being lied to. But I've learned to communicate that with my husband instead of being a control freak.
Yay!
Those days are hard, but once I actually start to talk about my fears to Sandro, he always had the perfect reply to show me how silly my fears are. It's almost infuriating, and I love him for it. Thank you very much to everyone who replied. I'm working on getting better. Maybe I'll post another update on my profile to keep everyone updated if there's any interest/need to. My therapist encouraged me to listen to stories of people affected by PPA or the flip side, people who grew up with parents like this. So I appreciate anyone willing to share their stories and experiences. That's probably good insight to get a glimpse of what your future
Mhm.
could be like.
Yeah.
You don't-
If you don't figure it out. No, I think this is all. I mean, obviously the whole thing with like him having full custody, like full parental rights, is pretty scary. But it hopefully shocks you into realizing, oh, I need to make changes.
Yep.
Like now.
I don't know why, but I feel like Sandro is like this beefy, like tough Hispanic man with a mustache, just like walking around taking care of the baby and taking business calls.
Well,
I
he's
love
an
it.
Ex-military man.
Yeah, I know. That's what's like
Probably
in my head.
really,
He's just
really
like wearing like
muscular.
tight shirts up top, showing off all his muscles and like, don't worry, I got you, baby. And he's like super nice and kind.
And also he wore his little princess dress.
Yeah, and he has like a little.
I love when you get those like super muscular macho men who are like
Yeah,
really cute girl
Oh,
dads.
they do,
He's like-
a little tea and everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. It's
He's
my
like
favorite thing.
Pedro Pascal's cousin.
I love
like
Pedro
that's what he
Pascal.
looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I see it.
yeah. Or Tommy.
Like
off of
me.
Last of Us? Yeah.
When I got
Oh
long hair.
yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just imagining like Ron Swanson when he has the tea party with the little girls.
Oh, and he has like all the makeup on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
My husband is exhausted from working a high-paying job. I don't want to work.
Don't.
This is part genuine request for perspective and opinions, and part getting it off of my chest. To sum up, my husband and I have been married for 10 years. We have a good marriage and have never faced any truly difficult times. It'll be difficult to explain everything that goes into this, but I'm happy to expound in the comments. By the way, this comes from user 10-year perspective. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So basically, the last decade has largely been focused on achieving financial independence. I had never been a very business-oriented person until I met my husband. He is extremely entrepreneurial, and his passion for it is catching. We have run our own businesses together and separately throughout our marriage. The goal has always been to make enough money on location-independent businesses that we can live freely. Not necessarily retire, but just have more freedom. Because of his encouragement, I am now on a career path that could easily result in that. In 10 years, we have moved 25 times, all because better opportunities have presented themselves or current opportunities have dried up. We are now facing number 26, with number 27 not far away because number 26 doesn't look like that good of a prospect. Without giving away details, my business fluctuates greatly. I've had months where I pull in mid-five figures and long stretches of a few $100, I assume, not $100,000. My career, quote unquote, outside of this is food service with a very definite wage ceiling. My husband's career is professional and he can easily find a six-figure salary position. His current online business currently brings in low four figures. We have always relied on his going back to work when money runs low. He's in high demand, can practically snap his fingers and get a job. I cannot. Here's the conflict, and where I'll try to eliminate as much of my bias as possible. My husband is completely burned out. He physically and emotionally can't deal with the stress of going to work right now. He has supported me through the last couple years when my income has been low, and I've always been aware of my financial contribution. And I make up for it by carrying the grand majority of the household chores, even when I was working 60 plus hours as a manager and pulling in half of his wage. But as our savings are dwindling, it's looking more and more like I'll have to get a job. That means pushing my business to the back burner, working a physically demanding job, all for a quarter of the pay he could get. I'm not one to spend money. We didn't really have a wedding. We bought my wedding band 3 years after we got married. I cut my own hair. I work from home in sweatpants. It's not as though I've forced him to work jobs he hates in order to provide me with an extravagant lifestyle. I have worked crap jobs to help provide for us in the past, and even when my business isn't earning a ton, I still put in 50 plus hours a week. I'm craving stability, not permanence, just the feeling that I can unpack our boxes and not feel like I should save them in a closet knowing in 6 to 9 months I'll need them again. We've been child-free for years, but the last couple years the topic has been coming up more and more. Yet I feel it's impossible to even discuss the idea of starting a family in the face of such uncertainty. I miss my cats, who they're living with my parents overseas. I want a fish tank and a place to hang pictures. My husband says, if you want those things, then make it happen, which, fair enough, I completely agree with. I don't want to rely on him to provide the life I want. However, it leaves me feeling a combination of emotions I can't really put into words. I find myself going through mental exercises of what would I do in this situation if I were single? How would I support myself? And I start to feel resentful. I'm not single. I'm married. And not only that, I'm not sure I can make enough money to support us. I desperately want him to find what it is he's meant to do. I don't care about the money or the dreams of financial independence if it means he's miserable trying to get there. Have we talked to him?
Belton says he's allowed to take a lower paying job, but he needs to do something. I think that's the thing. It's like, that's totally fair for him to be like, this job is too stressful. It's too much. That's totally fine. But like, both of you need to find another job that works. Gotta find something.
He's been trying to work out which direction to change to for the past year and has yet to come up with anything solid. I know it's all about give and take, but I can't help but feel, I don't have the words. And I'm at a complete loss as to how we resolve this. By the way, we have talked about all of this about 1,957 times already. There's nothing written here that he has not heard before. Edit. I appreciate all the comments and opinions. This got a lot more response than I expected. Just a few things. It's difficult to sum up an entire life in a few hundred words. The moves have been for varied and obviously, with 25 of them, multiple reasons. So some were because my husband was offered a good job. Others were to be nearer family. That still doesn't make any sense, dude.
They moved to be nearer family and then they moved again?
With 25 moves.
They're like, we're too close to the family.
Are they taking turns? You're like, so we're going to move close to Uncle Steve, and then
And
we're
now we
going to
gotta
move
move
next to
close to-
Mom and Dad,
Yeah.
and then we're going to move closer to my brother, and then what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Saying that like that's normal. It's crazy. I've been pursuing my side business for the last 3.5 years. The 7 prior to that, I was in full-time employment, sometimes working a full-time job, while also helping to run our own business. He has not financially supported me for 10 years. I'm not sure where people got MLM from, but I'm in a creative field. As I said, I don't want to reveal details, but I create products and then sell them online. We're not scam artists, nor do we have to leave town because people are catching on to our pyramid scheme, LOL. As far as financials go, again, it's impossible to sum up 10 years of income, but we go through feast and famine periods. Times when money is flowing in and times when we live off of what we've earned. We never live outside our means, and when money is good, we put thousands a month away to prepare for the downtimes. It's not a typical way of living, so I understand it's not easily relatable.
Why is it so I mean, like, I think there is, I don't want to say like it's not uncommon for people to have like very good times and then very bad financial times. Like there is that kind of fluctuation that happens in life because things change, but it seems like you guys are expecting that to happen. It like in a way that goes beyond like, oh, just in case. It feels like you guys are like, yeah, this business that we're in is gonna drop. And I feel like maybe this is not the business that we should be in if there is that much, fluctuation. That's just what I'm reading from this. Obviously, I don't know all of the details, but maybe this isn't the best idea to be in, or best business to be in.
We already know my take, right?
Yeah, I don't fully agree with your take, but
You know
That's your
what?
take, and
If
that's
you're
okay.
making 6 figures and you're miserable and you know that you can quit later, I'm singing tomorrow.
I just think they could both find
I'll
different
love ya
jobs that they like
tomorrow.
at least a little bit, or like don't make them miserable, but make them enough to be a little bit more stable. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I'm just thinking of all the times I've worked jobs that paid me literally dirt. Life isn't always about working a job that you like. It's true. A lot of times you will find yourself, like I really like the job I have right now. I worked a ton of jobs I did not enjoy, but I needed the money. So in that context, if y'all need the money right now to provide some level of security, just get it, save it, use it, then quit. What are we talking about? Comments. Number 1. So you both have entrepreneurial side businesses and full-time jobs, plus moving every 3 to 6 months for the last 10 years. That would burn anybody out. I know financial independence is a dream, but it seems like if both put down roots, maybe for a specified time, like 4 years, and found stability, burnout wouldn't be a factor. Financially and emotionally, starting over takes a toll. I want to say make a plan, but sometimes you have to go with the flow. Work a job and just make it day to day without trying to achieve large, crushing goals of making it big with an entrepreneurial venture. OP replies, we go back and forth when it comes to the full-time employment. Because of his high salary and short lifespan when working? It's been more like 6 months on, several months off, but there's always a side business, always, LOL. Comment number 2. If you're trying to reach financial independence based on location-independent businesses, why on earth do you have to move 25 times in 10 years? Why on earth are you moving for the 26th time if you think you'll have to move again for the 27th? It sounds to me like there is something wrong with how your husband is pursuing financial independence, and I'm worried that your husband is not so much entrepreneurial as chasing money schemes up a hill. And Downdale, after 10 years of working on it, how close are you to your net worth goal? You sound very frugal. Surely after 10 years, you have a solid nest egg and are seeing that net worth start to grow through compound interest. Why do you say your savings are dwindling when his business brings in enough money to pay the bills? From a FI-RAY perspective, it just doesn't add up. Even if this strategy really is working in a money sense, if you're sick of moving and long for stability, the strategy is not working for you or for your marriage. I think your reaction to the current circumstances is about a bigger set of issues than just going back to work. You sound like you're at the end of your rope with a lot of things, like moving and housework and children, and going back to low return on investment work is the last straw. As others have said, your husband needs to treat his burnout. You sound burned out too. You both need to take a step back and look at your plans and lifestyle. through marriage counseling, financial advice, whatever will help you review with clear eyes and get on the same page. Your current plans and lifestyle are clearly not working for either of you. OP says, when I say savings are dwindling, there's a lump of money in the savings account that we never ever touch and treat as the rock bottom. We never get close to that amount, so in my mind, what we have to live off in savings is running out. When we budget, we don't feel like we're doing well unless we're able to put money away at the end of the month. After 10 years of working, we are definitely not where either of us would like to be. That's not to say the experiences and ups and downs weren't worth it. I honestly don't think it's in my husband to buckle down with a 9-to-5 job and squirrel away money for retirement. I have always been happy to help him pursue his goals of owning and running his own businesses because I have faith in him. It's clear after talking this through on here, we're at a fork in the road. Reply, your husband is about to hit rock bottom and you're not far behind. That money was saved for emergencies. This situation is not that different than your husband being temporarily disabled. At the very least, you need to consider touching it. OP says, I appreciate the way that you put that. It makes it easier to lock onto in my mind. Thank you. And there's an update.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think the solution is, oh, we should reach into our rock bottom savings. I think the solution is we need to find a different career path because this one clearly isn't lucrative. I feel like anyone who's confused in the story, what we basically have is OP is an entrepreneur and has been working a couple low-paying jobs for 10 years. Her husband is an entrepreneur and has been working some very high-paying jobs, but that only kind of like contract work, only have limited time frames. And they've been doing this for 10 years. They've moved 26 times in the last 10 years for various different reasons. And now they're having a conflict of interest about wanting to save money, but her husband not wanting to do this well-paying job because it makes him miserable. And so that's where that. She's still working those 2 jobs and the entrepreneurial job or making something. And he's still doing the entrepreneurial job, I think, but not doing the 6-figure job. And they're just they cannot agree. And I think that they both have to realize that they just got to go a different route altogether. Because if you're working at a job for 10 years and seeing no sort of stability at all, I'm not talking you're going different job. They're at the same job, it seems. Or at least the same.
I think they're...
He's at the same job.
I think he has the ability to snap up those I think it's probably
contract work.
But he has all these other entrepreneurial things he's doing.
Yeah, but none of them are providing them stability. And if nothing in your life is providing you stability and that is what you want, then you have to look at alternatives. And that's not for him, just for him. That's for both of you. And that's my take on this story. And now I want to read the update, unless you have thoughts.
My take is just the same. Sometimes you got to eat a freaking crap sandwich and smile about it when you don't want to, because there's a beautiful deli that's going to make you the best turkey sandwich you've ever had at the end of this tunnel. And right now you're in the crap sandwich tunnel, but you're eating them for a reason, because there's a light at the end of it.
And Belton says same field, not the exact same job, which is a good point. But still, I mean, if the same field is not providing you any sort of stability, then let's see if we can take a little detour.
Like the comments also said, are we sure it's not moving every 5 months that's making you miserable?
That's also, I think you have to look at what in your life is causing you so much instability, and maybe it's moving. Maybe not having a stable place to live for 10 years is providing you a lack of stability.
It certainly
is causing
could
a lack
be.
Of stability.
Anyway, I'm going to the update. I'm writing partly to sort out all of this in my head and partly for outside perspectives. I don't even know what to think anymore. Again, I'm happy to explain any details that need fleshing out if it helps. I'll try to be concise, and I truly appreciate you reading. 9 months ago, I posted asking for help about my frustration with going back to work after my husband burned out in his career. For the sake of anonymity, I tried to be vague with the details, and many thought our work was on the dodgy side. I don't care about keeping it anonymous. All these factors are relevant. I am an author. I self-publish books and made a decent living doing it for several years. My husband is a software developer and mainly buys existing online companies and fixes them up to sell. When that's not working, he tries to work a normal 9 to 5, but typically lasts no more than 6 months. His last attempt was 1 day. My career before this was in the food industry, which means crap pay, long hours, and very sore feet. I got a job that pays 95% of the bills. The rest is covered by savings. Yeah, I'd rather be working for myself, but I like it. I'm good at it. It's the first time I actually enjoy going to work. For the last few months, I've been slowly changing, and it feels like my husband and I are drifting apart. At first, I thought it was a natural phase. Things will definitely feel different compared to working under the same roof all day and night. Now, I don't know. And here's some information from the previous thread. He says, if you want those things, then make them happen. Which, fair enough. I completely agree with. No? What do we... I don't want to rely on him to provide the life I want. However, it leaves me feeling a combination of emotions I can't really put into words. Okay, this is all just literally...
Oh, that was kind of
okay,
repeated,
this... Like, if I was single, how would I do this? But I'm not...
That's a repeat. We already read that
right,
stuff,
this is all repeated, yes. Okay, I'm not... Right,
I read that.
Yeah, but it's like the remixing. And not only that, I'm not sure I can make enough money to support us, but now I am making enough money to support us. And it feels good. It's given me confidence in a way I haven't had before. But it's also made something glaringly obvious in our relationship. We disagree on just about everything, and we have very little in common. Getting a job was the thing that made you realize this?
Opie's like, I got a good job. I don't like my husband. I mean, I understand. We're all like, OP, that was pretty obvious. However, I think for her, it's like she's finally able to support herself on her own. And then she's realizing, wow, my husband doesn't even care about like our partnership, like us.
And look, I have to clarify because I saw some comments. And as a former restaurant grunt, I would never be like, it's like the easiest job in the world or anything. It's more just perspective. There are jobs that are harder than that and are more of a toll on your body. And guess what? If the first thing you think about your job is that it's terrible and it's breaking my back and it's hard and it hurts and I hate it, guess what? When you go into work that job, you're going to be miserable. But if you do a little cognitive reframing and you go, you know what? There are some good parts about my job. And you think about those instead of, the bad stuff. Guess what? It makes it easier to go to your job.
I do think that OP is using that as like a way to be like, this is what I used to do and I hated it. And now I have a job that I love and I'm realizing, wow, there's so much better stuff in life.
I'm happy to work on my writing on the side while I work. He thinks I've given up on our dream and have settled for a world that is just 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. And he is loath to spend time in it. He sold his business and is still figuring out what he wants to do next. I want to buy a flat in the city. He wants to move to the country or use our savings to travel or live remotely. I want to settle for a while and make friends. He thinks there's plenty of time for that in the future. I want to make our home cozy and put up decorations like photos and artwork. While he likes it, he thinks of it all as just pointless stuff we shouldn't waste money on. I could go on, but you get it. It feels like literally everything I like, he hates. I've also realized that most of the moves, most of the big decisions were things I went along with. I'm not saying he bullied me or anything, just that I didn't feel too strongly one way or the other, so I tended to go with what he wanted. Of course we talked about it, but it rarely was me putting in the bulk of the income, so I didn't feel like I had much of a say. Now I feel strongly about a life direction and have the ability to make it happen, and I feel guilty. He says I've changed, that he is the same person as he's always been and wants the same things he's always wanted. This is me altering the situation, which I agree with, but it's not like it's this massive bait and switch plan. Our entire marriage, I've talked about settling down. I'm rambling. Here's the way I see it. We both love each other and genuinely want to make the other happy, which is why, for 10 years, we've both compromised on choices that go against what we individually want. He goes to work for a little while so I can have a semi-stable... Girl, him having a job is not a compromise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do we see that?
I think she's seeing it now, though. I think that's the whole point of this update is that she's saying, wow, we are totally different people and we want totally different things. And now that I can support myself, I'm going to scooch.
He goes to work for a little while so I can have a semi-stable home. I bounce around the world with him so he can discover himself and his career. But our tolerance for these periods have become too short to manage. He physically can't work for another person. If I could roll my eyes across the floor, I would do it. I have a...
That's why he wants to be an entrepreneur so much.
Take on that.
That's the thing. He now we're learning that what he sees as miserable is not just like terrible workplace, blah, blah, blah. It's he literally cannot work for another person. That's why he wants to be an entrepreneur so bad, but he's not a good entrepreneur. Sometimes you have to work for other people. That's how it works. And he can't get over that.
I want to scream when I think about packing up my stuff and starting over again. Have we just spent so much of our marriage being distracted by the exciting newness of moving and pushing for financial independence that we didn't notice how little we have in common otherwise? I can't help but feel like this is on me. Not my fault per se, but on my shoulders. I'm the one rocking the status quo, and if I want things to balance out, it's up to me to adjust my expectations.
I just need to know if they break up.
OP's like, is it on me for having free will to like want things that are different than what my husband does?
Really, gotta get out of there. Gotta get out. Let's leave.
Oh,
You guys want fundamentally different things.
free will. Wait, but is this just guilt? Guys, come on. Update number 2. I was recently cleaning out my bookmarks and found this old throwaway and obviously the 2 posts I'd made with it. I'm not sure why now I feel compelled to write a follow-up, but here it goes. Maybe it'll give people the bravery to change, or at least an example of how sticking with what you know isn't always the best choice. The best things in life are often on the opposite side of fear. Keep that in mind. And obviously, very long story short, with the help of those posts and a lot of long nights of thinking, I left my husband.
Yay!
In fact, it took him going away for a long weekend to realize how much happier and at peace I felt without him around. At first, the split was amicable, but looking back, I think he was just waiting for me to come rushing back to him once I realized my mistake, quote unquote. When that didn't happen, and he could see I was actually serious about building a new life for myself, he flipped the switch. We only spoke when he needed something from me, and eventually that stopped too. But enough about him. I'm now 42, happier and healthier, and more satisfied than I've been my whole life. I picked me, and that was the best choice I could have ever made. I lived alone for the first time, and my God, the peace of having my own space is unrivaled. I ended up staying in that apartment for 5 years, not moving a box in sight. I put art on the walls, I knew my neighbors, I made a home. I grew my career and went back to school. I made friends and built a little community. I've done a ton of therapy and realized that the harmful patterns my parents created in childhood were just repeating with my ex. I fell in love, a real love, a supportive love that encourages growth and security. I'm doing new work that helps people and is so much more than just chasing money. All of those things have created a life that's more rewarding than I ever thought possible for myself. And by the way, it is 100% possible for you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, really wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is type, okay, Storytime, in that mysterious little search bar.
So true.
Yeah.
But there we go. OP's done it.
It's
She's
good.
escaped.
We've got a good ending.
Like it. She's out of that situation and she's got a good job and she's still a writer.
Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if
I don't know if she's well, she said she was fairly successful.
little cowboy emojis in the chat.
Let's finish this story off.
I've gone through some really crappy times too. Illness, cancer scares, loss, grief, but I have no idea how I would have come out on the other side without the community I've built around me. Even something as simple as people at your local coffee shop recognizing you is a comfort after feeling adrift and alone for so long. If I were to respond to myself from 7 years ago, this is what I would say. Leave the loser. He doesn't care about you and he never did. He only cares about what you can do for him, and now that you aren't serving him, just go. You are capable of doing difficult things, and you are worthy of the work it takes to accomplish them. Trust your abilities. Trust your gut. It's been screaming at you for years now, honey. Life can be so much more than you've experienced, but you have to make it happen for yourself. There's an edit. I'm surprised but happy this found so many people. I genuinely thought I was going to bookend this story and have it disappear into the ether, but whatever urge I had to write it and whatever brought you to reading it, who knows? Maybe it was meant to be. Thank you for all your messages and comments. I feel so grateful to have this perspective and experience. And that is the end of that story.
There you go. There you go. My husband's ex showed up after years to tell him he has a daughter. Oh, surprise, surprise. My husband, 27 male, and I, 27 female, got into a long-distance relationship on October 16th, 2022, until he moved from Florida to Kansas to be with my son and me. Everything was perfect until a few months ago when we found out that I can't have more kids, and I actually needed to be scheduled for a medically necessary hysterectomy in early 2025.
Oh, wow.
By the way, this comes from Capital Monitor 4455, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice to you, Philippe, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, well, today my husband's ex called me. I didn't know it was her until I answered. And she told me that her 2-year-old daughter is my husband's. She was conceived 2 months before my husband and I got together. She's in Florida. I'm not able to move to Florida due to my son's dad living here. I feel like the only option at this point is divorce. I won't leave my son behind to move to Florida, and I would never expect my husband to stay in Kansas and not be there to raise his daughter. I can't explain the amount of sadness I feel. I never in a million years saw this coming. I don't even know what to do at this point. We're absolutely doing a paternity test before anything, as I can 100% see it being her trying to get him back. But the resemblance between the two is uncanny. In any case, her not telling him for 2 years is absolutely disgusting in my opinion. As someone with a kid, I could never imagine hiding a child from their father unless the father is violent. And my husband has never even once raised his voice at me or my son. So Reddit, what should I do? And there are some relevant comments, folks. Did OP's husband know about his daughter? OP says he had no clue about her. He didn't even know she had another baby. She says she didn't tell him due to him being harmful, which I am not her, so I don't know what she went through with him except what he told me, and I won't speak for her. But he has never even once raised his voice at me. Again, I'm not her, so I can't say she's right or wrong. OP on the timeline of when her husband was with the ex and the possibility of the child being conceived during his relationship with his ex. OP says they broke up December 2021, but hooked up a handful of times after. We are absolutely going to be doing a paternity test before anything. OP clarifies the details regarding the relationship between her husband and her son. OP says he's not the father of my son, but he's been in his life since right before he turned 2. He hasn't said much so far, and I'm not pushing anything. He just found out he's been on the road. He's a truck driver, so I'm sure his head is just spinning. I'll talk about it with him tomorrow. OP responds to multiple comments about divorcing her husband. I've responded many times to this question. No, I was not going to divorce my husband because he has a child. I was not going to divorce my husband willingly, period. As mentioned many times, I was worried that he wouldn't be able to see his daughter while living in Kansas and would have to leave us to go be a father to his daughter, who deserves her father just as much as any other kid. I posted here to make sure I didn't ignore my husband's feelings and emotion. I've been there for him and made him the priority here. I've stated this many times. Additional information, OP says we've slept, we've talked, and everything is okay at this time. We've contacted a lawyer and are going to start the paternity process. We were able to get it in writing from his ex to him that she had no intentions of ever telling him, did not want him in her life, and is not going to share her daughter with him. The lawyer we talked to said there's definitely a chance he can have his parenting time in Kansas if he's the dad, especially since she admitted she hid the daughter from him and didn't tell him until he had already been settled in Kansas for 2 years with a solid job, a wife, and a stepchild. And there is another update 2 days later. We talked with and hired an attorney yesterday. She will be served, more than likely, this week, and we will first schedule the paternity test. If it comes back that he's the father, then they will determine custody and child support. He said it should be a very quick process as Florida is a 50-50 state, and it's extremely rare for a judge to even consider negotiating with either party as long as both parents seem fit, especially since he didn't know these past 2 years and has it in writing that she never planned to tell him out of spite. The judge will have little to no sympathy for anything she says. The attorney said the most likely and typical scenario he sees in situations like this is his daughter spending 1 week in the spring, 5 weeks in the summer, and 2 weeks in the fall with us in Kansas and every other holiday. The attorney said there will not be any need to relocate. OP clarifies on how long she has known her husband. OP says, I have known this man for 8 years. We have spent many vacations with him and his family in Florida in the past 8 years. He's known my son since my son was 4 months old. We didn't start a romantic relationship until October of 2022. OP on the ex's family and how old the other kids are. OP says she has 2 other kids, totaling 3 baby daddies, and the first 2 are in Florida. I'm honestly not 100% sure. I've never asked. I do know that my husband left her in 2021. The kid in question was from a random hookup. and she had both kids already. I'd say the younger one is probably 4 to 5. Has OP seen the pictures of the girl, and if there are any resemblances between her husband and the child, which we already learned there were? OP says, after seeing more pictures, the resemblance is not uncanny. I don't see much of him in her at all. Oh, didn't she say at the beginning, like, I see some resemblance?
I actually don't remember. I was just agreeing with you before. I was like, yeah, we totally
I'm pretty
saw
sure that she said in the beginning, like, I see some resemblance.
Yeah,
I
I cannot confirm, but I believe you.
Interesting. I think my brain was just forcing me to believe it. Oh, okay. And that made me think they're super similar. So OP was just like, they look exactly alike.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
well,
actually, that's just a baby.
yeah, actually 2-year-olds just kind of.
Actually, the baby just has skin and hair.
Right.
Update 2, 4 days later. Final update for now. So much was uncovered today. And if you guys thought the situation was sus before, man, you're in for a surprise. But as of this evening, the case is officially open and a summons has been issued. So I'm going to stay quiet until this is over, just in case. Once everything is finalized, no matter how it may be finalized, I will create a new thread with an actual final update. 3 months later, it's been a roller coaster the last 3 months, but by hopefully next week, we will officially have answers. DNA tests were done yesterday. They said results typically take 3 to 5 business days, but since they were done in 2 different states, expect closer to 5 to 8 business days. In the last 3 months, there have been a million new things come out and a million different stories. She and my husband had talked quite a bit until things hit the fan recently. She and I also talked quite a bit for a while. It was all friendly. She would text or call us frequently, and my husband and I agreed to keep peace since she could potentially be a part of our lives for a long time. It turns out she did tell my husband she was pregnant prior to him and me getting together. She said the baby was probably not his. He asked if they could meet up and talk, and a couple of days later she texted him saying she doesn't want it. They did not talk again after the conversation. She admitted to me that she decided against terminating it, and she told me that she was going to tell him that she did go through with terminating the baby because she felt they wouldn't be able to co-parent well.
Oh, wow.
The daughter has another man's last name, and that man is on the birth certificate. Even though she has told my husband over a dozen times in the past 3 months that she has always known the daughter was my husband. There's a ton more, but I don't want to make this post 6 hours long. My husband's attorney has sent in proposed orders already in the case that paternity comes back positive so they can jump right back in. In his proposed orders, he's put in 50-50 legal and physical custody until she starts school, after a few months of visitations to let the daughter get to know my husband. He also included that my husband will fly with the child both ways, no child support if granted 50-50 custody, physical custody, and no back child support, as she has said multiple times that she never intended on telling him he has a child. And since there was another guy supporting the child these last 2 years, per her, he is still active in the child's life, even though they aren't together. He also proposed that my husband carries the child on health insurance. My husband's name goes on the birth certificate, and the daughter's last name is changed to my husband's name. His attorney has also talked about filing paternity fraud charges against her, since she has stated many times that she has always known, but she didn't want to co-parent with him. So she chose to put a different guy on the birth certificate, which caused my husband to miss out on 2 years of his potential child's life. If paternity comes back negative, his attorney is requesting she pays us back all the legal fees due to frivolous litigation. My emotions are insane right now, waiting on these results. I, of course, would love and accept the child if she is my husband's. She would be accepted into our family immediately and treated and loved the same as my biological child. But the ex has texted my husband about how much she still loves him, how she always will. She has also texted and called me many times saying she feels bad our marriage has to end. It isn't going to end. That's crazy.
Stop it.
She's texted OP multiple times and called being like, hey, OP, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad that your husband's gonna leave you for me. Oh man, it sucks. And OP's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I really don't believe this woman at all.
I do not either.
She's got to be a tough one to co-parent with if this child is his. But that's not the child's fault, and no matter what, we will get through it. Additional information from OP. OP says, adding to this, My husband and I tried for a baby for almost a year before seeing a fertility specialist. He did 2 semen analyses and both came back 100% sterile. Literally nothing due to a chromosome inversion. Doesn't mean it couldn't have happened, but unlikely. Is OP's husband able to have children? We already know that he is not. And when was the girl conceived? OP says as of August 2024, he cannot have biological children. Both analysis, a month apart, just came back with literally 0 baby juice count, azoospermia. IVF wasn't an option because there was no baby juice to use unless we used a donor. Also, I had a hysterectomy last month due to medical issues, so even donor baby juice isn't an option. So they cannot have kids.
Wow.
Which makes the situation 10 times worse because either 1, he has a daughter and missed out on the first 2 years of her life, or 2, she made him think he has a biological child that he will never have, and it was all just a game. Both of those are terrible.
Yeah.
Both of those are bad options.
I need the results. I need them now.
OP says the child was conceived in the summer of 2022. Yeah, so this is not adding up. So have the kid 2020. It's probably 2025 now. They've known for a year.
Yeah.
Had the kid 2023.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and then they were trying. So they've known for a year. They were trying for a year. So they've probably been trying since 2023.
Yeah.
And the kid was born was conceived summer of 2022.
Yeah, and they were together 2022. So unless he just became sterile and he cheated.
Yeah.
Then then it's his. But I don't think so.
I don't buy it. By the way, you don't have to buy it because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this for free if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
That's right.
But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts? And guys, we do have a 4th update 4 days later, but any final thoughts?
I just really hope this update has the actual paternity results.
Yeah.
After all of this back and forth of it's probably not. I need to know.
I need to know.
For sure.
But there is an update 4 days later, folks. Are you ready for this?
I'm so ready for this.
Paternity tests are back.
Woohoo!
0% probability.
Whoa!
My husband is the father.
Let's go!
As I suspected.
Oh my goodness.
Comment, what did the ex say about the results? OP says, since my husband paid for all 3 tests, she didn't get the results.
Oh.
He sent them to her and she never replied. We will be taking her to court for attorney fees, and all communication is 10,000% done.
Wow. That is amazing.
Great job.
So
Yeah, sue her.
Yeah.
Freaking sue her.
Sorry you got roped into all this mess.
Yeah.
But that's a crazy story for later.
So crazy. Is she a rat? Because you should sue her.
My wife gained a lot of weight. It's ruining our marriage.
Ooh, I don't like where this is going.
And by the way, I'm going to put a trigger warning here for a little fat phobia, as this story obviously centers around weight. So if you don't want to hear anyone's opinions on that, woo, next story, please. Our situation is a little different than most others. My wife and I are both second-generation Indian Americans. Our parents moved here, but we were born and raised here. And we actually met through a somewhat arranged dating thing. By the way, this comes from user HelpWait. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we talked for a month and a half, and then we got engaged and married 2 months later. Okay, so 3.5 months into knowing someone, married.
Boom. Got it.
I know this is odd, but in a lot of arranged marriages, people move a lot faster. Also, our age played a big part since we are on the older side. We talked and discussed a lot of things, and everything was laid out on the table. We got married January 3rd in India, where we recently had our 1-year anniversary. The reason why I'm posting on this forum is that I'm really worried about my wife's weight. When we got married, she was petite and looked absolutely beautiful. However, now she has put on a significant amount of weight. She says that since she's married now, she can finally be free, but it really is hurting my attraction towards her.
Uh-oh.
She has always been on the slimmer side, and all of her pictures in college showed me she was even slimmer. I go to the gym regularly, and my wife told me she did too. However, nowadays she rarely goes. She'll make some excuse that she's tired, something happened, and she won't go, and most of the time I end up going alone. She'll probably go to the gym once a week, if that, but usually ends up eating more that day, so it doesn't even have a positive effect. All of her weight gain has really caused me to lose a lot of attraction towards her. When I tried to talk to her about this, she tells me I'm her husband and I need to love her despite her weight. She points out that my mom is fat and my dad still loves her. I've tried to get her to do some home workouts with me, but she turns me down. I even tried making healthy meals for us, which she will eat, but then ends up snacking away. What really is frustrating about all of this is that she was petite for most of her life. It's not as if she can't lose weight or doesn't know how. That's why I'm posting on here, not a sports or fitness related forum. Do you guys have any ideas on what I can do? And there are some comments. Yeah, we're just going to get into these comments, see what the comments have to say about this gentleman's perspective.
Let's do it.
She's made it clear that this is the new status quo. If she doesn't come around, what's your end game? OP says she's been talking about trying for a baby. Right now, I told her that life is on pause until then. She isn't happy about it, saying that the older she gets, the more likely birth defects or complications, etc. But if she gains this much weight without any kids, with kids, she might be 200 in no time. I will ask my question again, says a commenter. If she does not change, what is your end game? OP says, I would have to talk to my family about this. I don't want to say anything bad to them about her yet. Okay, then right now she has no motivation to change. If she got more overweight, would you divorce her? OP said, divorce is permanent. So I can't say for sure, but I would definitely lean towards that, yes.
Oof.
Comment 2 says, if she's never been fat before and spent 25 years being pressured by strict Indian parents to stay skinny in order to attract a better husband, she doesn't even get to choose, I can totally see why she's doing this. She's probably always been under their thumbs, and she's got a taste of freedom. It's really not so different from how anorexics restrict as an expression of control. She's likely not had much control in her life, and she's asserting her autonomy by allowing herself to eat what she wants. She doesn't know what it's like yet to not be able to see your own junk or to get winded just from walking or for her knees to crinkle like a crisp packet.
This is a crazy comment.
She may see reason once she's had a bad checkup or realize how ugly plus-sized clothes are, or after she's had a few run-ins with good old public fat shaming.
What? So this commenter is saying, like, just wait, like, she might get bullied out of it. People might fat shame her in public, and then she'll be fine. Is that what this commenter is saying?
Yes, which I disagree with.
This really is a crazy comment.
These comments are whack. Getting fat feels great, especially if you're eating your feelings. Being fat sucks, but unfortunately, a lot of people have to learn that the hard way. I'm sorry, I don't know how to help her, but I think you'll have better luck having a frank discussion from a place of love. Focus on the fact that you're worried for her rather than that you're disappointed in her. May be true, but I think counterproductive. Would she see a counselor with you? A neutral moderator for this discussion may be very helpful. If all that doesn't work, then you may have to let her know that it's a hard limit for you. You can't force her to change, but you can decide what you will or won't tolerate, and if necessary, remove yourself from the marriage. Source, former fatty. Why can't we just love ourselves at all times?
Is it so hard to ask?
Why do we got to put conditions on when we're allowed to love ourselves?
Come on, man.
Just because you're not doing everything right doesn't mean you can't move through change with grace and love in your heart for yourself.
Yeah.
You're just going to feel awful the whole time you do it.
Exactly.
Because you're ashamed.
Everything's just going to be so much worse.
Yeah. We have an update here.
Okay. I'm scared to go into it.
This is what I'll say. You shouldn't be in this marriage, my guy.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I think she deserves a partner who can like look past just like her actual physical form.
Yeah.
Because it's like, sure, you're like, oh, I want you to be healthier and I want you to be, but you're really like, I don't want my wife to be ugly, which is like you are just not ready to marry this person and you never were.
Yeah. I agree. I think like, yes, physicality is important when you're going into a relationship. Like you want to be physically attracted to someone. But like when you're thinking about marrying someone, that's an important question to ask. Like, what's it going to be like when you gain weight? Because it's not even like an if thing. It's like literally like most people gain weight just in their lives, just in general. Like, I'm saying most because I'm sure there's some people that just don't. But it's very, very common for you to just get older and gain weight. That's just a thing that happens and you got to deal with it. So, like, if you don't think that you can handle that from seeing your partner gain weight, then, like, that's a you problem. It's not something that they have to fix.
Indeed. So, there are a couple misunderstandings I want to correct before I update y'all. It seems as if a lot of people wanted to peg me as some evil guy that is trying to make my wife anorexic. Trust me, that isn't the case. My wife was a healthy weight when we got married. She was on the slim side, but never sticks and bones. I've never seen her on the scale, but I know that weight-wise, prior to getting married, she was 120 on her license.
That's so itty bitty.
This guy's going to reveal like, yeah, my wife's 150. It's going to be like nothing. Like, my wife is a normal weight. Should I divorce her?
Right.
You're crazy, dude. The thing with the weight gain is that it isn't distributed very evenly. I know for a lot of women, when they gain weight, it goes to their thighs and actually looks pretty good. However, for my wife, a lot of that fat has gone to her face and stomach. Her body looks like a sack of potatoes.
Oh my God.
Bro, I'm about to hit you with a sack of potatoes.
Dude, this is not cool.
I don't know what to tell this man. Get out of this marriage. You're not ready for marriage. You're not ready for long-term partnership.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of, this is sickening.
Yeah.
While I can say that I love her on an emotional level, which I do think and care for her a lot, physically, it's just not there. So here is what happened since. I talked to my wife and I told her that I don't like where our relationship is going. I told her that I want her to get more fit and that while I love her, that I think that there is not a lot of lust. She told me that she's going to work on things at her own pace and that it's her body, not mine. Go, girl.
True.
Over the next couple of days, I didn't notice any changes. I made us some light pasta, tomato-based pasta with grilled chicken. And then I saw my wife basically pouring Parmesan cheese on it when she thought I wasn't looking.
Which sounds tasty and amazing. So I don't blame her.
My wife ate pasta. Should I divorce her?
Also, in the next few days, he was like, okay, great. So she told me that she's going to do it in her own time. It's been 2 days and I've seen no changes. God.
This guy's really infuriating. She ended up going to the gym, and when she came back, she went to a smoothie place nearby, and the smoothies are like 600 calories. And she probably was only at the gym for 30 minutes because she came back within an hour. By the way, buddy, if you have the nerve to be saying all this stuff, you better look like a triathlete.
Honestly.
You better have like a sculpted marble physique.
Yeah.
To feel like you have the right to say any of this stuff. How about we focus on improvements you could be making?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. I told her we need to have a talk. I told her that I can't find her attractive and that this whole behavior is just not me. I told her that I don't want in 10 years that she's going to be around on a mobility scooter at Walmart and that I have seriously considered divorce. She ended up crying and going to a friend's house. We had an actual talk later that night. She said that a lot of the reason she went and got an arranged marriage was because she thought brown guys didn't care much about weight, since most Indian couples she knows, both people are fat. I told her that I do care about weight and looks matter to me. Are both of these people just like simpletons? What are we doing? She's like, I didn't think you'd care because I've seen every Indian couples I've ever seen. They're both overweight.
Yeah.
What happened to talking to people that you're marrying about things? Maybe you should know these things before you're married to somebody.
It's a really good conversation to have before marriage. In any case.
I don't want to be like culturally insensitive or anything, but if you didn't get married to this woman and you're just dating, look, it's a non-issue. Because now she goes, wow, I don't want to be with someone with that perspective. Let's break up. But now you're married. It's complicated.
But if you can get married once, you can get married again.
Yes, that's right.
It can always happen.
That's right. I followed a lot of the advice people told me. Instead of saying that she looks gross to me now, I told her about how I'm more worried for the future. She tried to call me shallow, but I called her out because every guy she finds attractive on TV are all on the slim and muscular side. She's never said, look at that 400-pound guy, look how hot he is. She said that if she loved them, then she wouldn't care. I called BS on that, and we argued some more. This guy is like, well, I never see you saying 400-pound people are hot. She's like, if I loved them, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
And then he just goes, no, you would. Yeah, nuh-uh. And it's just like,
I just told you.
No, I refuse to validate your perspective.
What?
Yeah, no, that's just not true.
Yeah. It's giving me more reason I need to know now what this guy looks like. Because if he is like at the same weight as her or like, at the same, I don't know, fat percentage or something.
Only way he's getting away with this is if he looks like Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and Cristiano Ronaldo all mixed their genetics together.
Even then, if he gained weight, you would still love him. because you love who he is.
She ended up leaving, go figure, and told me that I have been putting too much pressure on her and she's considering divorce over this, that I'm bound to leave her anyways when I get older. She then starts getting mad at me for my pornography preferences, that I just want a 10 out of 10 girl when I barely am a 5 and got a tiny wee-wee. My wee-wee is not tiny.
What is that?
Eyebrows raised at that. And you know what else isn't tiny?
What?
The archive of full episodes with stories just like this that you can listen to on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
Do it. I dare you. Try to listen to them all. Pick your favorite. We have a little bit more story left here, but I've never wanted a divorce so bad.
Yeah, these are two people that are clearly not on the same page, not in the right marriage. So she was saying to him, like, you're wanting a 10, but you're barely a 5 or something like that?
Right. Barely a 5.
With that teeny weeny.
I didn't escalate the fight anymore. I took my stuff and left for a hotel nearby. I called my close family members and told them what happened. My parents were surprisingly sympathetic. The next day, my wife contacted me, asking me if I cooled off. I told her I thought about it, and it's not going to work out. Wow. I told her that she changed when she got married, and that I am not okay with that. Hey, guess what, buddy? She was going to change again and again, and so will you, and so will everyone else you know.
That's what comes with being with someone forever.
What comes with being alive?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not okay that you changed. Dang, you're not really going to be okay with anything then. It's everybody's changing all the time.
Exactly.
I told her that there are plenty of guys that are into bigger women, and best of luck with that. She has now been trying to get me to resolve this and get back together. While I'm not one to hold a grudge, I don't see any value when I feel that she has a different expectation of marriage than I do. If she was to lose weight now, then what happens when we have kids? I don't know exactly what to do at this point. Is there any point in getting back together? And that's the end of that story. Not for you, buddy. I think you are looking for just like a digital wife that is ageless and timeless and programmable that you can just like make.
Yeah, I think so. Some sort of robot.
It's on the way. We're right there. We got AI.
Dude, just wait a few years. It'll figure itself out.
And you can have your AI girlfriend be whatever way you want her to be. And she'll feel real. But you'll be alone. Well, but that is the end of that story.
I reconnected with a previous affair partner, and we might have a son together.
Oh, that sounds like you made a mess.
I know many of you will have strong feelings about me because of what I've done. And I understand and do not blame you. All I ask is that you put that aside for a moment and help me if you can.
Okay. I'm putting it aside.
Putting it aside.
You're a perfect, faultless baby.
About 5 years ago, I started an affair with a coworker at my job who I'll call Ashley.
No longer. You are guilty, baby.
Guilty!
Guilty, baby.
At first, we were just friends, but we got too close. I'm just thinking about like going undercover. You got in too deep and crossed many boundaries that we never should have.
I was working for the U.S. Marshals.
Point break. By the way, this comes from Walking the Straight, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when we both started having some difficulties in our relationships, mine because of my wife's PPD and hers because her boyfriend didn't give her the attention she wanted, we turned to each other for emotional support. All right, wait, hold on, sorry. Hold on, everyone. OP cheated on their pregnant wife.
Actually, no, just gave birth wife. Because it's postpartum.
Yeah, sorry, you're right.
So it's in a way.
OP cheated on their recently given birth wife.
Their wife?
Post-pregnant wife. I had to hit a Dakota for that one.
She hits me a lot. No.
Guilty baby.
Yeah.
Guilty
very
baby.
guilty baby. He's like, I would like everyone to not judge me because if you do, I'll be bad.
I told you not to judge me. You can't judge me. Okay. Anyway, gradually this turned into a physical relationship. And before I knew it, I was having spicy sleep with Ashley on a regular basis.
What are you, stupid? Before I knew it. Well, I'm sorry. Were you sleepwalking?
The affair lasted for close to a year.
All right, we got to keep going. If we do this, we would stop at everything this guy's about to say because there's no way.
But the guilt of cheating on my wife and neglecting my family started to get to me.
Oh my God.
Every time that I'm feeling something, I'm just going to look at the camera and I'm going to move on because you already understand that I feel the way that I feel. I tried to break things off with Ashley, but she had gotten too attached and had started imagining us becoming a real couple. She was able to keep me in her hand for a while, but I eventually broke things off. She did not take this well, and her reaction was what led to us both getting caught.
Oh, it wasn't that you were having an affair with her. It was her action after the fact that got you caught. You actually, no, you know what? We're going to do it the other way. We're going to do the story the other way because I can't do this story while pretending like I agree with anything this guy says.
Our affair was discovered by our boss, and we both lost our jobs for breaking company policy.
Ooh, sucks to suck.
Once this happened, then everyone else around us discovered what had been happening. I made the choice to recommit to my wife and work on our marriage.
Is that what they call it?
Ashley, on the other hand, decided that she needed a clean break and moved to the West Coast. My wife and I entered counseling, and it took us several years to get back to a place where she could say she trusted and loved me. Yeah, you cheated on her for a year.
Right. Okay. You went to counseling and she knew, and then you got back to zero.
I know now how fortunate I am to have my wife that is so forgiving and loves me so much. And I have tried every day since the affair ended to be worthy of her love and forgiveness. Seeing how it has been a few years since those events, I think we both figured the affair was well past us. But I'm now afraid that it is not and may never be.
Yeah, hey, did you guys hear that when people boink, sometimes they have kids?
Yeah, for a year. For a year. 2 months ago, Ashley moved back to the area. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I found this out after one of my friends / former coworkers sent me a panicked email about 2 weeks ago letting me know that there was something I should be aware of. Apparently, Ashley reached out to her to see about grabbing dinner sometime to catch up. The friend accepted Ashley's offer only to discover that Ashley had a son now.
Right.
The friend tells me in the email that the boy looks a lot like me, and because of his age, almost 4, could be mine. I sent back an email asking if Ashley had claimed that he was my son, and she said that Ashley would not tell her who the boy's father was. My curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to stalk Ashley to see if I should be worried. On Facebook. There weren't many photos of the boy I could see, but from what I saw, he does look like me and like my other son when he was around the same age. I was concerned enough at this point that I decided to contact Ashley. And before you did that, you talked to your wife, right?
I would bet you $5 million he didn't.
I told her that given our history and the age of the boy, I was concerned that he might be my son. This is what she said. It's been a long time, OP. Yeah, he's your son. He looks so much like you, doesn't he? He has your smile and laugh. He's just the most precious boy in the world, and I would love so much for you to meet him and for him to meet his daddy. I know we both made mistakes in the past, but at least our love produced one good thing. Winky face. Let me know of a time that works for you. What?
I mean, am I crazy for thinking that was like low-key the best way she could have gone about that?
That was so intensely casual.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like,
hey, yeah, that's your son.
Low-key, I feel like that's, yeah, hey, glad you noticed that it looks like you. Yeah, it is your son. I've raised him. He's great. I love him. I mean, hey, we definitely made a huge mistake, but got something great out of it.
It's the good old Forrest Gump.
That was incredibly casual. Wow. Okay.
That's your son, Forrest.
I guess I'm wrong. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's been about a week since that response, but so far I haven't been able to decide what I need or how to respond. I feel lost. I wake up one day and then I have another son. How do I even know if he's mine?
Because, well,
I mean,
how do I
paternity
even know if
test.
he's mine?
Looks like you. Same age as, when she was cheating with you for a year. Is it even worth it to respond back?
You suck, dude.
Hope he sucks. I think about all the drama that could be unleashed if I really explore this. But if he is my son, I can't just pretend like he doesn't exist.
Brother, you should have thought about all the drama you were going to unleash when you started banging this lady.
I think I have to know for his sake and mine. This is a lot to think about, and I have no idea how to approach my wife about this. It's like reopening an old wound. And I hate it, but I don't think ignoring it would do any good.
Bro, he's talking like he went into a bar with his wife and like his ex-girlfriend is in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do we do about this?
Um,
What do we do? Do I even say anything or should I just ignore her?
do I just ignore the fact that I have a child and never tell my wife?
Jesus Christ.
I can't wait to read these comments, so we're going to get into them.
Yeah.
Comment 1. There are a few steps you need to take now. 1. Tell your wife. Yesterday. Yes, it will reopen the old wound. Yes, it means you have to admit you contacted your ex, which was a mistake in my opinion. But that's water under the bridge, and that's likely to infuriate your wife. But not telling her is immediately breaking whatever trust she's gotten back. Number 2, paternity test. Yesterday, also. You and your wife need some sort of plan of attack if the kid really is yours and if your wife still wants a marriage. Number 3, make it very clear to Ashley that you are not in any way, shape, or form getting in any type of romantic relationship with her. After you tell your wife, of course. OP says, I think that's a good strategy. I was thinking about maybe contacting a lawyer to help with the PAT test. I don't know that Ashley would make it difficult, but if it is my son, I'd like to try and get some visitation rights. Comment 2, are you saying you cheated unprotected shortly after your wife had a baby? For basically the first year of your child's life? Jesus, that's absolutely terrible, and I have zero sympathy for you. Honestly, this could very well be the final nail in the coffin from your wife's perspective, and you are even more of a bad person if you try and prevent her from leaving by guilting her. It's one thing to move on from an affair, but you can't move on from a living human which you created. If the child is yours, we are talking about child support, visitation, etc. The whole situation will become a huge part of your life, unless you plan on being a deadbeat father to this child.
My money, I'm putting it all on red for that one, baby.
Yep. Tell her, then get a paternity test. Don't be surprised if your entire life implodes on you. That is the consequences of fathering a child with someone other than your wife while she was going through PPD. Update! Yeah. Agreed with all the comments.
I see how the update starts with, so a lot has happened, and I hope what has happened is that the community got together. They took all the excess lumber, all the excess building materials in the area and built a large trebuchet.
Yep.
And they flung you into the next county so that you don't bother anyone around you.
Yep.
Oh. Get ready to be flung again, because the next county over is going to start building their trebuchet as soon as you land, buddy.
It's kind of a skipping stone situation.
And look, honestly, like, clearly people are not perfect, right? Everyone makes mistakes. This guy's clearly made like huge mistakes.
Oh, and he keeps making them.
And he's like, what do I do? Hey, buddy, you got to eat it. You got to eat the crow. You got to own your mistakes.
Mhm.
You have to deal with and live with the consequences of them and find a
Unfortunately,
way to live life afterwards.
The thing is, this is the type of mistake that follows you. It will haunt you forever.
Yep.
That sucks. You made it. You made that choice, and you have to live with it.
Can be maybe a blessing if you let it change you in a way that is positive and persisting.
Yeah.
But, you're not going to, this is an unwinnable scenario.
So a lot has happened since the last post. The first thing that I did was tell my wife about everything that had been happening. That was not very fun, and it opened up a lot of old wounds. Maybe what upset her the most was the fact that I had contacted Ashley in private without her knowledge.
Yeah, it's almost like you're breaking the trust that you had established and built.
Yeah.
I
apologized for hiding it from her and for keeping her in the dark about the situation, but I assured her that I was just as surprised about what Ashley was claiming, which is why I reacted so poorly.
This dummy still doesn't get it. He's
Fortunately,
he tried to explain, like, well, again, the only reason I didn't say this is because I thought that you'd be upset.
Fortunately for me, my wife is very loving and supportive. We know that, even when I don't deserve those things. She said that when she decided to stay with me, she meant it, and this hasn't changed her mind. Wow, you chose the most forgiving person in the world. We are in counseling again, but I think we're doing well considering the size of this bombshell. Things have also gone well on the Ashley side. Just to go ahead and get it out of the way, we did the paternity test and Ashley was telling the truth. The child is mine. After that was settled, my wife told me that I could be as involved with my son as Ashley or a court would allow. it was my decision. I decided that the best thing for everyone involved would be for Ashley to continue to have majority custody of the child, with me being allowed to see him on weekends, special occasions, and whenever she wanted a break from mommy duty. We also came up with a number in terms of monthly child support that was fairly generous. We discussed all of this with Ashley, and she agreed and maybe even encouraged me to be as involved as I could. So for now, we're staying out of the court system. I might be wrong, but I think that Ashley really wants to work with my wife and me to make sure that our son is well provided for and well cared for. I've seen them a number of times now, and so far the experiences have been very positive and a lot of fun. Although there are obviously boundaries and rules that govern our interactions, as is needed. Obviously, you guys should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Poke Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Dude, she's counting down the days until their kid turns 18. And then she is out. 100%. She's staying with you for the kid. Which, you know, is it always the best thing to do? No.
I don't know. I don't know if she is.
I
think
I
she's
believe that.
genuinely just incredibly forgiving.
I have to believe this. I have to believe that she's
just
playing the long game, and she's like, our kids are going to have as stable of an upbringing as I can possibly provide them. And as soon as they are an adult, I am leaving this man, and then they get 2 Christmases.
But like, I mean, in general, either way, this woman is incredibly loyal or patient or something. Wow.
And this guy must be really hot.
You do not deserve your wife, Betty. But there is a little bit left to the story. On a side note, she was right. He is a very strong and independent person for someone his age, but he also has a very gentle and loving heart. We are taking things slowly, but hopefully my son can come for an overnight visit soon. I appreciate everyone's advice, and I have to say that I feel extremely lucky for this situation to have turned out as well as it did.
Yeah, well, at least you're aware of that, buddy.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the end of the story, though.
Nope, can't do it. I can't forgive him. Sorry. I tried right there. I was about to say some stuff about and I can't because I don't believe it. I would not forgive this guy. I would have left him, and I would have co-parented. I would not have stayed in a marriage with this man, and I would teach my kid the values of loyalty and trust and the consequences of breaking those things once they were old enough to understand what had happened.
And that's that.
Poison Tonic says, I would 100% bet he would sleep with the affair partner if she was into it. Yeah, of course. Because he did it and faced virtually no consequences other than like his wife being down to clean it up.
Like, he got fired and that was it. That was seemingly his only consequence.
Yeah, and he would have never admitted to it. Because he said the only reason we got caught was because of what she did.
Yeah, she made
so he was never going to admit it.
Or something. But let's get into this next story.
My wife demands me to clean the house for hours. I'm sick of it.
I'm sick and tired.
My wife was a stay-at-home mom for 3 years before our daughter started preschool regularly. Then she worked part-time and went back to graduate school, both online from home. She worked as a part-time teacher for an online school, and her graduate school was online. She did that for 2 years and then looked for better work and has been working full-time for about 6 months. Our daughter, who's now 6, is in 1st grade. By the way, this comes from user sick of cleaning up. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My wife has, in my opinion, ridiculous cleanliness standards for our house. She was very hard on herself when she was stay at home and made sure everything was spick and span. Dinner was always something freshly cooked. She refused to use something like a crock pot or easy meal. She refused to let me get maid service even when she was in graduate school working and minding a toddler most of the day. Our daughter did do preschool from 2 to 4, more and more time at preschool each year, but my wife still had her for some days, or at least part of the day. She worked her butt off. Our house always looked amazing, like something out of a magazine. When I could see she was overworked or still working on chores when I got home, I tried to talk to her about help or having more reasonable expectations, but she wouldn't hear. I did try to pitch in a bit, but I just can't stand doing too many chores, especially if things are basically clean. I mean, I'll do dishes or I'll cook, but I can't be asked to dust the little borders at the bottom of the wall all weekly. Who does that? Is that really something everyone worries about? I am a middle manager at an engineering company. Really decent money. Not the greatest job in the world. I preferred being an engineer, honestly, but the management stress was definitely worth the pay bump since my daughter has been born. It lets me provide for my family. I would be fine with my wife working or staying home and never pressed her to do more. She is very driven and hard on herself. I don't see why she needed to work and go to graduate school, but she wanted an income that at least paid for schooling since her program was expensive. That's basically all it paid for in those 2 years, but that's fine. I would have gladly paid out of our fund money and scrimped for her. So the conflict here is now that my wife is working full time. She still wants to keep the house up to the same standard, but she wants to give me a laundry list of chores to do basically every single day and all day Saturday. I don't mean she wants me to pitch in a little. When I asked her for a time estimate, she said maybe 20 hours a week. I think this is ridiculous, Reddit. Seriously. And yeah, that is a little ridiculous.
20 hours a week for cleaning when you have a kid and a full-time job? I won't do that. I'm sorry. If I was OP, I'm not gonna do that.
I think the problem here is in our execution. Are we cleaning with the microscopic lens that goes down to the molecular level, and we're because that's a little too much. If it's taking us 20 hours a week to clean, we're cleaning wrong.
Yeah.
I've suggested things like crock-pot meal solutions, getting a maid service if we really need it, and maybe cutting back on vacuuming once weekly or cutting out some non-essential chores except doing them maybe monthly or quarterly. I don't want to live in squalor. I pick up after myself. I can cook a meal, wash dishes, wipe down a counter. I understand dust and mildew shouldn't be in the house and that the pink mold in the bathroom must be guarded against. I don't want to be a pig, but I feel my wife's standards are just too imposing. I will add, this isn't about parenting. I'm very involved as a parent and my wife would agree on that. While she was the primary caregiver because she could stay at home, I have always made sure my wife had kid-free time, and Sunday is daddy day where my daughter and I always do something fun together, in or out of the house, and give my wife the afternoon to herself if she wants it. She sometimes wants to tag along, and that's fine too. The thing is, she's really mad about this because she's kept up these standards for so long on her own, and she feels like I'm not her partner. Do I just have to suck it up and lose the majority of my free time a week on chores, or is there some better way to talk to her? I'll give in if I'm really in the wrong here, but I just feel there has to be some kind of compromise. I'll say that my wife often uses her free time to clean, even if I insist otherwise. So, like the Sunday afternoons I insist she has free, if she doesn't join us, she will often clean more or do an errand. I wish she would take some time for herself, but she just doesn't choose to very often. There's an edit. Can people also share what they view as normal household cleaning? I want to make sure I'm not just being an ignorant slob. Okay, we've got the list now. So we're going to get a peek into
Let's see it.
the cleaning the daily cleaning list. Here's today's list. And the same every other Friday when I'm off. Keep in mind this off time is earned by working 10-hour days every day of the 9 days I do work each 2 weeks. Not like a bonus. I only worked 30 hours this week. Okay, here's the reasonable chores. Laundry for the whole household seems to be about 6 loads for the week, including towels, hand towels, sheets, blankets, blah, 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 as well as all 3 of our clothes, and then a few dry clean in bag loads for her stuff. My dry clean stuff goes to an actual cleaner, as do some of hers. Prepare dinner for tonight. She left a specific recipe, which is like a 2-hour affair, which is a bit meh when I could have made something simpler, but I'm home, so I get this to an extent. Clean the kitchen by wiping down counters, cleaning the microwave. Soup did explode in it recently, so it looks dirty. Cleaning stove and burners, etc. There are other things on the kitchen list that seem less reasonable, like she wants the oven cleaned every other week with baking soda and a scrub down. This seems like an annual thing to me, not like an every other week thing. And the whole refrigerator cleaned out and scrubbed every other week.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're a stay-at-home parent and you don't have much else to do besides like hang out with the kid, take care of the kid, and like do schoolwork and stuff, and if you don't have any hobbies, I'd probably be cleaning all the time too. If that was all I had to do and I didn't have any other interests or just things to spend my time.
Clean.
Yeah, I would totally do that. But guess what? That's not the most important thing to me.
I got more stuff, man.
Got other things.
Even cleaning out the burner pans doesn't seem like something you do every other week to me, but whatever. Also, all the cupboards and cabinets, no bleach in the kitchen except for the floor, of course. Vacuuming the house, this would be reasonable, except she just had me do it Monday. Changing the linens in the guest bedroom, whatever, seems weird, but not time consuming. Things that seem less reasonable. Using the deep carpet clean machine after vacuuming for the second or third time this week. I think she vacuumed once too. Leather cleaning the leather couches in the sitting room. There are instructions that look horrifying for this. Bleach cleaning the floors, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, 2 patio, back and front with the scrub brush. Dusting the whole house, including moving furniture and getting every baseboard. There's about a page worth of dusting instructions. And by the way, I have instructions for you to go listen to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime. And I think we have a fair chunk of story left, and we're only halfway through. Yeah, I'm getting the sense that maybe the cleaning is a little extreme.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way too. Maybe she's got some sort of control problem. Maybe she's got some sort of like health anxiety problem, something like that. I don't know.
So I think this is a great situation for compromise.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We go to our wife and we say, hey, I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm down to do. Here's
Right.
what I'll be doing.
Right.
I think you should get over the vacuuming, buddy. Vacuum all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Vacuuming twice a week is not abnormal. Doing the deep cleaning carpet thing every 2 weeks, though, that is a little abnormal.
Yeah.
Leather treating your couch is normal. Not every week, it's not, but, I don't know. Moving furniture to get dust, also kind of normal. Having to dust the entirety of the house every week, though,
Not
not
quite normal.
super normal. That's maybe like a once a month type
Yeah.
deal.
Having to clean out your fridge and your cabinets
Twice a month.
maybe.
Well, no, that's what they're doing.
Oh.
They're doing
I
every
thought
2
that was
weeks.
weekly.
Every
Oh,
2
okay.
weeks, they're scrubbing out the whole fridge. Every 2 weeks, they're...
Like, it's got to be some sort of like, oh, she's worried about being unhealthy, or when they have people over, she's worried about being judged for like not being clean. Because like a lot of these things, like I get it, they do build up, and so if you take care of it, like every now and then like you won't, it won't be that bad once you just like leave it alone. But like, what a waste of time if it's not that
Truly
big of a deal to like
complete waste of
have it
time.
a tiny bit like messy or have it build up a little bit, then like you can do deep cleans a little bit like once things build up, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I thought OP was gonna be so wrong in this, and they're totally like not in the wrong at all, really.
No, yeah. We support you, OP.
Yeah. And then there are things I do without her asking, like the dishwasher was run last night, so I already put away dishes, took out the trash this morning, I cleaned up a few stray shoes on the floor, I made the bed when she left for work. Of course, she's gonna be pissed if I don't get it all done because I was on Reddit, but I honestly feel overwhelmed. I plan to get at least the laundry, dinner, and kitchen done. And there's some comments. Let's see what they have to say for this poor soul. Comment 1, just a quick note to add to other advice here. Some of her chores are actually damaging. Like what you're doing to the carpet by over vacuuming will wear it down. The leather cleaning will wear it faster. Scrubbing wood floors with a brush too often will damage the finish. This is a really good point and goes for the bathrooms too. If you have grout, the more you clean, the more you need to seal it to prevent penetration of water and other substances, which causes deep mold growth that isn't always readily apparent. If you have granite or stone tile, that's the same advice. Sealants, finishes, and caulking, and a lot of natural surfaces and fibers, which are expensive to repair or replace, are incredibly vulnerable to overcleaning. A second comment says, a couple of ideas. First, ask her to prioritize her list from what she considers the most important to least important. Then tell her you will do the top 3 or 5 things from the list. 2, ask for a compromise on the frequency. Unless you have multiple pets or a confetti machine, there's really no need to vacuum 3 times a week. If your daughter has severe allergies or something, maybe, but realistically, most people just vacuum once per week. Same thing with cleaning bathrooms. A deep clean once on the weekends and then have some disinfecting wipes on the toilet tank. For quick messes, you can just wipe up anytime they happen. I even do one bathroom on Saturday and then one bathroom on Wednesday, so I don't feel like I'm doing all the cleaning on the weekends. 3, impress upon her your understanding that you need to be an equal partner, but that doesn't mean you both view cleaning in the same way. What might be her minimum cleanliness standards don't have to be yours, and that you both need to meet somewhere in the middle and work towards that together. 4, also let her know how important your free time is to you. Your daughter is not going to grow up and wish she had spent more time cleaning with you. As the daughter of a mother who was a bit OCD about cleaning, let me assure you that this is a fact. She will have wished she spent more time one-on-one with both of you doing fun things. Maybe remind her of this. Keep the priorities straight. There will always be time for tidying up, but your daughter is going to grow up in the blink of an eye, and you don't get that time back. Good luck, OP. Comment 3, oh, you guys definitely need a cleaning lady. I haven't cleaned a bathroom in 2 years. When I started looking for recommendations, I was surprised to find out pretty much all my friends who work had one. I always thought I was just a lazy slob. That's what I would fight for if I were you. Then she gets the clean house she wants, and you both get free time. Additional questions from OP. Serious question. Is it fair for me, OP, to have like 5 or 10 hours a week to myself to do something I personally enjoy as a hobby as well? Or is that too much to expect as a husband and dad? It's usually closer to 5 than 10, but sometimes on the weeks I get Fridays off, I have had 10 before. I understand if I don't get the time because it's the holidays or my daughter is sick. I'm not a stickler, but I feel like some hobby time for me me in the week is reasonable, and my wife doesn't really agree with that because she doesn't take any for herself, though I try to afford her the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's totally unreasonable. You should not have any hobbies.
I think your wife is confusing her own decisions to spend her time doing what could be considered work
Yeah.
with this is what you should spend your time doing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
She's deciding to use her extra time to do
Yeah.
more cleaning.
Yeah.
You don't have to. People are allowed to have hobbies.
Yep.
Parents, husbands, they, guess what? Spend time doing things that aren't chores or work.
Yes, please. Please.
It sounds like your wife's hobby is cleaning and she's trying to rope you into it. Put your foot down and don't let her walk all over you. This is her problem. If you have trouble getting in the time, why not have a father-daughter hobby hour on Sunday? She can color and you can do your hobby thing and your wife can clean, LOL. OP says, I think my wife cannot relax and enjoy herself in something she considers not productive, if there's something productive to do. So my hobby time has been a bit of a point of contention sometimes due to her seeing productive things that could be done. But instead, I want some free time. On Sundays, I really like to do things with a full focus on my daughter. I consider parenting a very important responsibility, so I wouldn't sacrifice that daddy-daughter time for hobby time, though sometimes my daughter and I will play games together. Usually, my daughter gets choices throughout the week. She also has a special sticker chart where she gets extra special trips or treats on Sundays if she's earned them through good grades or good behavior, etc. Reply, if your daughter is 6, why doesn't she have chores that she needs to do throughout the week and weekends? Little things, but chores. It might help loosen your wife up. What are you talking about? Conscripting the child into being a chore lackey is not going to ease anyone up.
When she's 6? What's she going to do when she's 6?
Well, I mean, 6-year-olds can learn how, you should
Sure.
be teaching your kids how to clean.
Sure. But I think giving her chores is like,
She's a kid.
yeah, like maybe have her clean her own things, but clean up after herself, clean up little things here and there. But I feel like chores are usually assigned when you want something done.
Yeah.
But if you're going to assign them to a 6-year-old, don't expect them to be done
6-year-old
right.
chores needs to be make a peanut butter and jelly and clean up.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
we did it.
Put all your toys back in their little toy box.
Yeah, those are the 6-year-old chores.
Yeah.
Some of the most fun I have cleaning is with my 2-year-old. He loves to sweep and wash windows and pick things up and help in any way he can. He gets furious if you don't let him start the washer and dryer. He's very handy and he's only 2. My 6-year-old doesn't do many chores, but he lives with his dad most of the time. But when he's with us, I can say he cleans up and I will say, hey, clean up this, and he will do it. It's a huge stress relief. Knowing there are more hands to help, meaning less for me to do. Might want to bring it up as an option. Also, kids are brutal about what they think is clean or not clean, so they may be closer to your views on it, and your daughter might help your wife see that most people see it as clean, even if she doesn't, and that it doesn't have to be Pinterest ready at the drop of a hat. OP says, our daughter has chores like cleaning her room, picking up after herself, and making her bed, but she's not allowed near the cleaning supplies as they're all a bit toxic for a 6-year-old. Yeah, and that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Dude, get a maid.
Yeah.
End of the day, if you can afford a cleaning service,
Yeah.
I would just do that, and that solves everyone's problems.
If we've got these standards, honestly, just do that. And if she wants it extra, then that's her hobby and she can do that.
Yep.